Morning, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3, The Fan. Today is Wednesday, April 26th. God dang it, every time. Hi, sorry. Tell what kind of mood I'm in already. That's my fault. I'm yelling at myself because I always leave my computer unmuted. We definitely will be unmuted today. We've got, I think there's a little heat to be brought, certainly at this point, but nothing to completely panic about. People don't want to hear that. That's okay. That's fine. No one's forcing you to listen or watch the game tonight. I get about a dozen DMs, and Woodsy, I'm done. I'm not watching anymore. All right. I'll be there today to watch the game. I can't wait, personally. That's why I love the game of baseball. There's always tomorrow. And today is, in fact, tomorrow. Does that make sense to you guys? I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He's our executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right. Benjamin Higgins, our Secretary of Homeland Exploration, is here. Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning, everybody. I'll try to bring some perspective to Padres fans this morning.
I probably won't.
Yeah, I know.
I'm probably not going to do the big perspective glass half full thing. Just
I'm not saying a glass half full.
because the glass is like
The glass
an inch
is only
full.
a quarter full.
No,
Right?
not even a quarter full. It's an inch full.
We're
We're below the Mendoza line. It's an inch full.
I can give you maybe a third of a cup.
All right, third I can maybe defend.
I don't know that it's half full, but I'm not going to say that the glass is empty at this moment. There are some reasons to not be so discouraged by your San Diego Padres.
Sure. No, I agree with that. I mean, the number one reason for me, God, this is not foreplay. The number one reason for me is that I love this team and I still very much expect them to have a good season. And I love baseball. You see what shirt I wore today? This was planned. This is my Sarah Langs Baseball is the Best shirt. We had Sarah on last week. Sarah, who is battling ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, one of the worst diseases a human being could be saddled with. And her spirit, her attitude is way better than mine, and it's way better than the majority of people I know. And she has the weight of the world on her shoulders, and she's able to smile through it all. I wore this shirt because it was for me. I bought this shirt when we had her on. She was fantastic. And I thought, man, perspective is always the most important thing. That being said, this team stinks right now. They stink. They stink. There's no other way to put it. And my favorite players are stinking. They're not playing well. And it sucks to watch. And I'll tell you, I have figured it out. I can't tell you why they're not hitting. I can't tell you why they're not scoring runs. But I have figured out why everyone's so pissed off. I know exactly why. We're embarrassed. We're embarrassed. We are you are, I am, Paulie is, every person on Twitter that when the Padres get down 4 runs starts attacking me and you and Paul and us and everybody they can attack. You're embarrassed. I get it. Nobody in the world wants egg on their face. My wife and we got in a fight recently, and I told her my number one thing in life, my number one thing that you can't do to me or I will shut down is embarrass me. That's it. Like anything else. You can call me a load. You can call me a slob. You can say I don't pull my weight around the house. Don't embarrass me. And we're embarrassed right now, and that's why everybody's so pissed off.
Even if you didn't go around crowing about the Padres offseason, adding Xander Bogaerts, and this team is going to be unstoppable, even if you were, a knock on wood, calm, like let's wait and see what happens, I guarantee that your internal expectations, because I know my internal expectations were as high as they have ever been in the history of my Padres fandom. So even if you're not embarrassed by anything you said, you're still embarrassed by how high your expectations were.
How excited you got.
And how the results have not matched up with that so far.
That's exactly
feel like
right.
You've let yourself down at the very least. And if you went out on social media and started crowing to other fan bases and really opening yourself up, then yeah, you're feeling pretty awful through 25 games of this season where the Padres have not played very well. I mean, it's the hitting. There's been some pitching issues. I think the defense, for the most part, has been good.
It's been really good, actually.
But the hitting has been the exact opposite of what we all expected. We were all sold. I've been selling it. You've been selling it because
it's that there's a great line from the movie Heat, which I think is my favorite movie. The guy tells her, hey, I don't have to sell this. You know why? Because S like this sells itself. When you have Juan Soto, and when you have Xander Bogaerts, and when you have Tatis coming back, and you have Manny Machado coming off a top 2 MVP performance, when you have Jake Cronenworth, you got him locked up now. You got Ha-Seong Kim coming off a good year. You've got a couple of catchers that, hey man, we maybe could have upgraded, but I'm pretty excited about what I'm seeing from Austin Nola in spring training. He looks locked in. Campy's going to be a good one too. And Trent Grisham's going to have a monster bounce back year. Oh my God, look at our pitching staff, man. Look at the guys we've added. Got Josh Hader back this year. Joe Musgrove's coming back. Yu Darvish, Blake Snell. Hopefully he figures out. Dude, that stuff doesn't need a salesman. The Padres teams of 5, 6, 7 years ago, that was a sales job.
Sure, rewind to Rockstar GM AJ Preller's first offseason.
Matt Kemp, Derek Norris, Will Middlebrooks. Yeah, that's a sale job.
There had to be a little bit of all right, let's cover our eyes a little bit and let's pretend just a little bit that everyone's going to play well and best case scenario this thing. And yeah, I can see the Padres being pretty good this year. That required some salesmanship.
But even then still, and I wasn't doing sports radio then, but I was a Padres fan at the time. And I was elated.
Of course.
Getting Kimbrel at that last minute. I mean, you're like, God.
It's like the day before opening day.
Yes, and you're like, they're doing it, man. Like they're really, really going for it. Matt Kemp's going to come in here and he's going to want to stick it to the Dodgers so bad. Middlebrooks comes from a Red Sox pedigree.
But you're selling right now.
That's how I felt.
Yeah, but yes. But this team doesn't even require that.
It shouldn't.
You don't really need to sell Juan Soto at all.
Right.
You just look at him, and he's obviously one of the best players in baseball.
Right. And then it hasn't
Manny
worked
Machado
out so
is
far.
obviously one of the best players in baseball. I don't need to tell you that. You all know that without me trying to sell it to you.
Boy, we jammed it down their throats, though. And I think, and for good reason. Again, I'll take any blame you want to throw my way, but I don't feel like I snowed anyone on this team. I don't feel like, somebody it blamed you yesterday. Said, Ben was telling me this offense is going to be unstoppable. I go, it wasn't just Ben. It was me. It was Ben. It was Ken Rosenthal. It was Jeff Passan. It was Mark DeRosa. It was Alana Rizzo. It was name them. People were like, dude, if this team scores below 7 or 9, that's going to be a really, really off night. We are coming in now on April 26th. These guys have been shut out 5 times since opening day. 5 times.
4 times in the last 9
4
games.
times in 9 games. It's one of the weirdest, most inexplicable, obviously it's not unforgivable. All this will be a distant memory at some point. Hopefully. It feels like it felt in August of 21. That's how it feels. But the beauty is it ain't August. It's April. And I know people are sick and tired of hearing that. I don't know what to tell you. I still feel that they're going to hit. It sounds weird to say. I still believe in Juan Soto, and I still believe in Manny Machado, and I still believe in Fernando Tatis Jr. It doesn't feel like going out on a limb to me. I still do. And guess what? You do too. You do too. And your ass is going to be parked right in front of the TV, just like my ass will be tonight and tomorrow and on this weekend when they're playing in Mexico and whoever they play next. You're going to be there. And I'm going to be there too. It's like a marriage. It's like children. You're in it. And if you're in it, be in it. And you can be pissed off. I'm pissed off. It was excruciating to watch that team last night. Excruciating. Horrible. 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 Guys are not performing. That's the only way I can put it is I don't think they're not trying. I don't think they're not putting in side work. They're not performing. Period. And it's contagious right now because no one's performing. Really. We have 1 extra base hit last night, guys. 1 extra base hit for that lineup should never happen. It should never happen. But I'm not going anywhere. I love you. I believe in you. I'm still sold on you. It's not happening right now.
Can you make the argument if you are really negative and down on the Padres? Can you come in here and make the argument that you don't believe that Manny Machado will ever start hitting this season? That Juan Soto, he really finally has found his level. He's a 180 hitter, and that's what he's always been. He's fooled us for 5 years as one of the best hitters in baseball. But this is what he really is.
This is who he really
is. Going to convince us. Come on. convince us that Manny Machado and Juan Soto are actually two horrible hitters that have been hoodwinking baseball for years and years and years.
Right.
And this is their true selves. And now the Padres are
Locked into Manny.
into them, and there's
Yep.
nothing they can do about it. I don't think you can make that argument, or anyone could, with a straight face and
No,
really believe that.
But it does feel like with Soto right now, it feels like I'm selling you guys on Franchy Cordero, right? Because that is something that has happened on this show. Because we believed in Franchy Cordero. Because all we saw in Franchy Cordero was, look at this guy. Look at this power. He's got raw power. I mean, he looks like a baseball player. He can hit. He hit for power. If he figures out and cuts down the strikeouts, he's gonna be great. Juan Soto is not Franchy Cordero. Franchy Cordero is actually having a better season than Juan Soto right now.
So is Brent Rooker.
So is Brent Rooker. Brent Rooker has 6 times.
And Jorge Mateo.
Brent Rooker has 6 times the home runs that Manny Machado has right now. Do I think that's going to play out? No, I don't. So I don't feel like I have to sell, and I know that makes it harder because then it forces you to be what? Patient. And being patient is not a strong suit of this fan base or any other fan base. And I don't blame you. I'm pissed off too. I can't. If you're going to go down with a fight. Don't go get shut out again. You've shut out 5 times already. It's inexcusable. It's number one, it's inexcusable, but it's inexplicable. You cannot explain it. It's beyond science how these guys cannot string together enough to get 1 run in these 5 games. 1. I swear to God, last night I was like, please, Toddy, just hit a ball in the gap. Let's get on the board. Because to do the same show 5 days into the season already, like we've done, this is the 5th shutout show. We've had to come in here and go, juggling, spinning plates. It's absurd. It's absurd. So I understand your frustration. If you can't tell, I'm very frustrated too. But it's like my marriage, like my kids. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be here today, ready to go, rooting my ass off for this team because, like of the moron that I am, it's my worst quality and it's my best quality. I'm stubborn and I'm bullish, and I am bullish on this team. This team will make the playoffs. Okay. This team could very well still win the West. We've seen the worst of this team in the first 3 weeks, and they're still hanging around the top. So I know it doesn't sound like I'm trying to calm people down, but that's kind of what I'm doing.
It's one thing if they were 12 games under 500. And
correct.
It wouldn't even be over at that point. You'd say, hey, this team just needs to go on a nice run, have a good month, a month and a half or so. They could have 4 good days, and we'd be saying, okay, they're fine. We're good. Padres are on a winning streak. By this time next week, everything could look fantastic. If that's ever the case with your baseball team, then nothing really has gone wrong yet. If you can say in 1 week everything could be fine, then there's nothing that's gone wrong at this point yet. It's simply early.
Conversely, they could lose the next 5 in a row.
Still
win the thing.
It's still not over at that point. I mean, there's nothing that they're going to win or lose here in April. They've gotten off to a slow start, and we're all disappointed. That was not foreplay.
I looked yesterday for more game shows that offered hand relief, and I couldn't find any. So what did you want me to do? What would it be? Another one? Wheel of Fortune. Have to be very short words. I like to buy vowel. Hey. Can I solve the puzzle, Willie Nelson? Oh, thank God. I did it. Whew. I looked. I didn't see anything. So I don't know. I tried. No whammy, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy. Stop. Oh, God. I'm out. That's it for me. I really did. I tried. But, yeah, I just going with my gut feeling this morning.
Maybe that's how we make the incorporator more difficult for Jesse.
Jesse, can we get a meeting real quick? Because you're really this is too easy. So I'm going to suggest you're going to hear a knock.
Tony Gwynn Jr. is the real loser in this scenario.
Tony doesn't have to do it. This isn't his fault. You're going to hear a knock at the door. Dave Marcus, actually, he's in the room, so he can handle that. Well, we've devolved as usual here on Ben and Woods.
You wanted foreplay, there you go.
Yeah, you wanted foreplay. There it is. I love you guys. I'm sorry that they're not playing well. It's my fault, and it's Ben's fault, and Paul's fault.
Speaking of the incorporator, Jesse went late last night. I heard it live, actually, getting the word quidnunc into the
Quidnunc.
broadcast. It's not been fun. You know, this is the second straight time I think that the Padres have been down and out, and Jesse still needs to get the incorporator
I know,
in on a
dude.
Tuesday. It's more
I
fun
know.
when they're
It's like
rolling.
he's like waiting for them to, I don't know, score a run
Yeah,
or
let's
get
have-
a hit.
Someone can smile about this game, and I'll get a funny vocabulary word in at some point. It's not as fun when the Padres haven't scored.
I'd have to go back and look. I think last week were we getting no hit
Yeah,
through like
so
five.
I think
or
that was the
something?
no-hit game.
Tuesdays have been tough.
I texted him last night and I go, how cold was it? He goes, my teeth were chattering throughout the broadcast. He goes, towards the end of the game, I just pretty much stopped describing things altogether. So he was just like, ball one,
Too cold.
30 seconds go by. He's like, there's a strike on the outside corner. And he just
Because he's
sitting
turning
there.
off his mic and going,
Yeah, he said it was miserable.
I mean,
miserable in there.
Don and Mud.
They
That's
were
all
dying.
they talked about.
They were dying last night.
After one inning, I go, oh, we're gonna get 3 hours of them just
And then-
complaining about the cold.
And then you got to sit through that. It makes it even if they're busting out for 14 runs, you're feeling much warmer. They did not.
It's an Adam Jones Wednesday. Our friend and baseball all-star will join us at 7:35 this morning. We think he's on his way to Mexico City this week, right?
He is.
I think so. Yeah.
He's going to be at the games this weekend, Padres Giants in Mexico City. So we'll preview what's coming up for the Padres there. And baseball writer Joe Sheehan, who we had on a couple of months ago,
So
a
good,
real
man.
smart guy. He's got some stuff on the Oakland A's that he's been writing about lately, the strength of schedule and the impact, how that is going, not just the Padres and other teams early in the season from his newsletter. Talk to him at 8:35 and all of our regular features here on a Wednesday, trying to just shake that loss and get into a better headspace this morning. We can always do that with our daily ditty. Woods, the selection, bands and artists that have a number in their name. We'll see what Woods picks when we come back, getting things started. Welcome, everybody. The ceremony has begun on Ben and Woods. We'll be back after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
Very appropriate. It says 9-inch nails. 9-inch
Nine being the
nails.
number.
The number is 9. The song is Every Day is exactly the same. And that is,
I see what you did there.
and it worked out perfectly. Just as perfect as a ditty could play out. It did.
Had the Padres won 6-2 last night,
I would have
that still
played.
been
I
your
would
ditty?
have played Terrible Lie or Closer, but today, or I was gonna play Hurt today, but
That song's a lot.
it's a lot. It's out there with my favorite songs in the world, but it's a lot to listen to, and it says the S word in it. I wear this crown of S upon my liar's chair. It's exactly what Ben and I are doing here. We are wearing our crown of S on our liar's chairs. We have sold this entire city on this team, and now it's blowing up in our face.
We really pulled a fast one,
We did.
everybody.
We really did. We got you guys all
now.
believing.
Finally, you can hear our honest opinion. We knew this team
Yeah,
would
we
be
knew.
rubbish the
Yeah,
entire time.
We knew we were saying off the
There
air.
was never any chance that the
No.
Padres would be any good this
No.
season, and now we're
No
finally all realizing it.
Yeah.
You know, reality kind of bites in this situation. That's just not true.
No.
So let's get to the incorporator, and then we'll get into yesterday's game, some of the details. It wasn't, I mean, it was negative, but it wasn't all negative. There were a couple of things I liked about last night's game, actually.
I'm racking my brain.
We'll get to it in just a second.
Xander Bogaerts, pretty good.
First though,
Good defense.
good defense yet again.
Good defense.
Specifically Fernando Tatis Jr. Some things I liked there, and you probably did as well. But first, our incorporator, our weekly game with the voice of the Padres, Jesse Agler, gets a vocabulary word. Sounds crazy. He's got to work it into the broadcast at some point. Do we have the setup, Paulie? All right, from yesterday's Jesse appearance. But your word today for the incorporator is quidnunc.
Quidnunc.
QUIDNUNC, a person who is eager to know the latest news and gossip. A quidnunc.
Oh,
I'm a quidnunc.
okay.
Yeah, you are a quidnunc over there.
Definitely a
Yeah,
quidnunc.
Woods is a big quidnunc.
Big, giant quidnunc.
All right, so Jesse, I think, understandably, was hoping for something good to happen for the Padres during the game, and then in a lighthearted
Again.
moment, he could work quidnunc in. They get to the bottom of the 8th inning. It is now 2-0, then it's 3-0, and the bases are loaded, and he's running out of time to
I
get
think there
this
was a
in.
pitching change.
Yeah.
He came back
He
from
is-
commercial
he is-
break.
It's getting late in the night in Chicago, and he's just got to do it at some point. So here it is.
Here's the 1-0 pitch from the lefty, and Horner takes a fastball on the inside corner for a ball, 2-0.
This man.
If there's one thing that can turn a ball player into a quidnunc, it is a discussion about umpires. And tonight, lots to discuss.
That is
2-0 pitch
great.
is at the top of the zone.
That's
For a strike,
generous.
2-1.
That umpire was terrible, by the way, just as an aside. That is really good, though. A guy that wants to know the gossip about an umpire.
Yeah.
I'm
He crushed
sure.
it.
I promise you, there are texts that go around from big leaguers like, "Hey, if you guys get Eddings, just watch out. He's on one lately, and he's calling it low and out, and you better be ready to hack." That's really good.
I think-
He's great. at
I think
that.
Sammy did say it well on the post-game show last night. I was listening to some of it. He said, the umpire wasn't good. Wasn't at all why the Padres
No.
lost that game.
And it really hasn't been all season. I mean, the umpiring is, it's always a little bit suspect, but not even close to why they lost. Not even close.
No, that's it's a completely irrelevant part of the discussion of last night's
I'd
game.
say it's almost rarely the umpire's
Correct.
fault.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, unless it's
if ever.
you ring, it's bases loaded. I thought there's a couple plays in the playoffs that were like, holy crap! Like the Grisham, did he go? Did he not? That
Right.
was unbelievable. But like when it gets down to a regular season game in April and it's a pitch that's
But just like you could point out a bad call, you could point out, we did leave runners stranded in the 3rd inning. Maybe we had
Yeah.
a base hit there, and it doesn't even matter.
0 for 8 with
whatever.
with run, 8 men left on or 10 men left on, whatever
It's
it was
so
last
easy
night.
to blame the umpires,
Sure.
though. I
Even
I
me.
do it every day.
Lord umpire blamer. I haven't even really blamed the umpires this year. They've been terrible, but they're always terrible. So I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's not going to change. You better be ready to hit when you're up there. And we are not doing that.
No, which means very few Padres highlights in our wrap up, which is coming up next. Although I do have some post game comments that might infuriate you.
Me?
Yeah, you
Oh.
and everybody else out there.
All right.
So we'll get to that coming up next with Ben and Woods.
I
Stick
like that.
around on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All guests on Ben Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. Now, the NFL draft isn't until tomorrow.
Correct.
But decisions are already
yes.
made. Frank Reich, the coach of the Carolina Panthers, said they have made their decision. They're not telling everybody, but they have decided which quarterback they will take with the number 1 pick.
It'll still take them all, is it 5 minutes?
15 minutes.
15
yeah,
in the NFL?
they'll use it all.
God, they will use 14 and a half minutes, and then finally we will see it. The pick is in.
They'll get calls. They'll get calls up
Last minute
calls. Let us trade.
Is
trade up.
Is that
trade
really true? I mean, if you don't,
I would
have, if you
imagine.
don't have the framework of something going on already, are you really going to convince a GM in the last 3 minutes?
What better time to do
pick?
it? What better time to do it if I call you and go, hey man, I got 2 twos and my 1, and I want this guy, and you're like, how do I turn that down? I got 3 minutes. I'm sure it does. I mean,
Maybe just make your decision, turn your phone off.
Here's my draft experience.
I'd feel too worried that I didn't think it through enough, and like, did I just make a horror? I had the number 1 pick. I just traded away.
You better love him though.
I got a 4th rounder and a 7th rounder for the number 1 pick. What did I do wrong? I know, but
didn't you guys watch Draft Day?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
That makes no. I mean,
it makes no sense.
Makes no sense whatsoever.
But it's a great movie. It's highly underrated. I think it is.
It's not a bad movie.
It's not a bad movie, but it's completely.
It doesn't feel
realistic
at all.
I get it.
The way it plays out for Kevin Costner in the draft.
Oh, how everything works in his favor miraculously at the end.
He should have been fired after the first.
There was a debacle,
fiasco.
But the thing is, if you have the number 1 pick, you better be in love with that pick, right? That's why. Like, you better be like next year. Whoever has the number 1 pick, something tells me they're going to be in love with that pick because it's going to be Caleb Williams from USC. That's who our teams are going to be actually tanking for. It's going to be tanked for Caleb this season. So you got to have to watch that. So if you get the number 1 next year, you're like, unless he falls off a cliff, which. We've seen it here in baseball. Unless he falls off a cliff, that's going to be your number 1 overall. And that's a pick where you're like, don't need the 15 minutes. We'll take Caleb Williams at 1 here in whoever gets the first pick. So
I just bring it up, though, just like the Carolina Panthers. Ben's mock the draft is actually already complete.
Oh, thank God.
I have all my top 10 selections ready to go.
I can't wait.
And now it's simply waiting for the appointed time tomorrow,
7 o'clock,
when we will reveal all.
Yeah, 7:30 tomorrow. Let's do it.
So that's tomorrow. Ben mocks the draft, our annual tradition on draft day here on Ben and Woods.
Perfect.
Now though, we've got a Padres shutout loss to discuss, as we'd like to do 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
We will get to our Padres wrap-up after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the Premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Tannick.
Traffic is sponsored by California Coast Credit Union. Well, that trip out of the South Bay, not much fun on North 805 this morning. Got a collision at Telegraph Canyon Road. Got the 2 left lanes blocked. Motorcycle involved in that. Just up ahead at 8th Street, reports of another crash. This one is in the center divide. Now an accident reported on northbound side of the 125 near Lemon. Couple vehicles involved. So that might already be in the clearing stage over to the right. And westbound 52 near Mass Boulevard off-ramp. We're getting reports of a shovel in lanes. With MasterCard local CalCoast Credit Union members can earn 5% cash back on purchases made with CalCoast MasterCard credit and debit cards every time they shop at participating businesses. Learn more at calcoastcu.org/shop-local. I'm Kelly Danek with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's a shame if they lose.
You can visit Pity City, but you can't live there.
Did you miss any of the Padres game yesterday?
Oh, it's been a great day today. Can't wait for more.
Oh, God, here we go. Jesus Christ.
Cancel the parade. That's why you play the games.
It's the Padres wrap-up with Ben and Woods.
Slam Diego? More like fail Diego.
Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else. On 97.3 The Fan.
I just felt the way that the roster is built, they would have to outscore their opponents to win.
0-2 to Gomes. Here's the pitch from Snell, and that's hit in the air to left center field. Well struck. Grisham's going back. He looks up. This one gonna go. Padre Killer does it again. into the teeth of the wind. Yan Gomes, a 2-run homer to left center. He goes deep in back-to-back games, and the Cubs jump out in front 2-0 here in the second. Here's the pitch from Wilson. That's lined into right field, a base hit. Tatis gets to it on 2 hops, off balance, not going to have a play at the plate. Throw goes to the cutoff man, and would you believe it? Yan Gomes now 4 for 4, an RBI single here in the 8th inning, and it's 3-0 Cubs. 2 balls and a strike to Horner. The pitch from Kerr hit hard and fair up the left field line, headed towards the corner. Mancini has scored. Gomes is on his way. Velasquez is being waved. All 3 runs have scored. Horner into third, standing with the bases clearing triple, and it's 6-0 here in the 8th.
Yeah, I think Velo's picking up a little bit. Looks like he's got a little more life on the fastball. The 5 walks are what got him out of the game after 5 innings. So he had to throw over 100 pitches to do it. So Times needs to locate a little better.
I mean, we can invent an adjective at this point. Snellian.
Snellian. Yeah, I've said it a few times this year. It's a Snellian performance.
Is exactly what we saw last night. He was, dominant in his stuff at times, but not enough control to get deep into the game. He gets so many swings and misses that every count seems to run to 3-2. I think there was a point in the game where 6 out of the first 8 batters or something all went to a full count. So you knew at that point, he's not going to be here past the 5th inning, probably. It's going to be another one of those Blake Snell games, but ultimately was able to dodge every bit of trouble except one swing off the bat of Yan Gomes, which I didn't even think was one of his worst pitches. It was a breaking ball. It was kind of lower and outside, and I have no idea how Yan Gomes pulled that ball into the teeth of a 40-degree Wrigley Field wind to get it out, but he did. A good swing. That guy kills the Padres, kills them not just last night, but every time it seemingly they face him, and he went 4 for 4. And the Cubs shut out the Padres 6-0 last night.
Yeah, the hard truth of the matter is, and I said it yesterday when Jesse was on, as a fan base, we need to stop thinking that Blake Snell is going to be an economical pitcher. And if you can just set your expectations at 5 innings, keep us in a ball game, fine. I understand he's making $10 million a year. That's a lot of dough. I understand that.
It's a lot more enjoyable, though, if you make that your expectation.
Yes.
Then you're pleasantly surprised
when he
July
on his 103rd pitch when he struck out the last guy up, and was it Wisdom maybe? He struck the last guy out. I gave it a yes, let's go, dude, because I had set my expectation of give me 5, keep us in a ball game. Guys, I've said it before, unfortunately, a bunch of times. 2 runs should not be a nail in the coffin for this team. It should not, but it is.
Nolan Ryan wouldn't have won last night if
exactly.
If we don't score a run.
I look at this and I go, guys, we get down 2-0 quick. It feels like it's over. And then we had chances. There were plenty of chances to get a knock with runners in scoring position. We didn't again. And so I'm not putting this on Blake Snell. I'm not. He gave us, and I know this isn't 1975 where everybody goes, 7, 8, 9 innings. I know that. I wish it was. And I'm sure Blake Snell wishes he could be more economical. That being said, I said it on the show. I set myself up for get me through 5, keep me in a ball game. He did exactly that.
All right. My logical brain absolutely tells me that you're 100% right, that Blake Snell can't be expected or, counted on to go out and throw 8 shutout innings. And he shouldn't have to do that either for this team to win games. But here's what's going to infuriate people. We're going to play a little sound, and I know this is going to make you mad, from Blake Snell. When the Padres, he's in his 3rd season now with the Padres. He has started 56 games for the San Diego Padres. They are 21-35 in the games that he starts. That's atrocious. This is a good baseball team. He is a really good pitcher who's won a Cy Young Award. A 500 record would be a little dicey. Like you want to think that one of your better pitchers who's won a Cy Young Award, who has nasty, dominating stuff, should probably. Your team should win more times than they lose when he's on the mound. They shouldn't be losing almost twice for every time they win when he takes the mound.
Is it a symptom of, and this is a stretch, I think, but is it a symptom of, holy crap, dude, like these are grindy innings for all of us. Of course they're grindy innings for Blake Snell, but if you're Manny, you're like, bro, throw strikes, let us make some plays, et cetera, et cetera. Is it grindy on the
I don't know, because
I'm looking for answers
now.
here.
Now, if he was pitching, his 5 innings and the Padres were ahead, 3-1 when he left, and then the bullpen blew it every time because he didn't get deep into the game, I'd say, all right, they need to figure something out because, you need to go deeper. That hasn't been the case. They're not blowing big Blake Snell leads because he leaves the game too early and then the bullpen coughs it up. They're behind in these games when he leaves already. They're not performing well in games that Blake Snell pitches.
Yeah, you're right. They don't perform well in games that he throws.
And it's not just the last 4 starts. He's 0-4 this year. But this is now a third season kind of thing. When you look at that record, 21-35 in his 56 starts, you're starting to go, what's going on that's deeper here? Because it's not just that he doesn't go deep into the games. I can't really recall a ton of times that Blake Snell, well, he was up 4-0, but he only pitched 5, and then the bullpen came and blew it. Padres bullpens don't come in and blow those leads very often. They've had good bullpens the last few years.
Darvish got shut out 1-0, this year, and it's an offensive problem. That's what it is.
Let's hear from Blake Snell. I know
you think this is going to make me mad.
I know there's some Padres fans who are not going to like to hear this, and you're probably one of them.
Blake, how would you describe the night? It looked like you had some good stuff. You made some good pitches when you needed to, but the walks was the biggest issue.
Yeah, walks by far. I feel good. I feel like now I believe where I'm at. I like where I'm at. The walks is what's hurting me. So clean that up, and then allow me to go deeper into ball games, and yeah, I'll be fine from there. Pitching wise, I'm making the right pitches. It's the walks that are hurting because, the hits that they're getting, they got a home run from Gomes. I like the pitch, so good job on him. Good piece of hitting. Outside of that, they didn't really do much with the hits, a bunch of singles, 3 of them. So, the walks is what's hurting me. It's running the pitch count up. It's letting them see way too many pitches. So with that said, I'm really happy though with how I feel with the ball coming out. 5 walks isn't going to show that the way that I feel, and over time, what I'll do moving forward, I'm excited for what I'll be able to show in that time.
Are the walks mostly fastball command issues, or is it just it can vary? Sometimes
I think varies, but I think fastball is mainly the reason. I'll watch the game. I think that's like the biggest thing is once I walk through the game, see what I'm thinking, what I'm doing. But the fastball is closer than what it was my last start, so I'm happy with that. I don't have balls that are like a foot away from the zone to where I really like. I'm missing arm side up, which I really like. I can make that adjustment, and I'll do that and continue to get better. So I really like where I'm at. Obviously, the walks and the result is frustrating, but looking at the long season and where I'm at right now and moving forward, I'm really excited about what I'll be able to do to help the team win.
Well, at Wrigley Field, I think they were actually in the shower together. You could hear,
the water,
showers, the water running. It's such a small clubhouse.
I'm not mad at that at all.
So I'm not. Here's what I thought he said he likes where he's at 5-6 times in, and I get that results aren't
there,
everything in pitching,
right?
And they can't be. And that even the most 1964 of baseball fan has to know that the wins and losses for a pitcher can't be the only way you measure the results of the guy on the mound. You can't win unless your team scores some runs, and the pitcher can't control that. Now they can't control it at all because they don't even hit. If you wanted to blame him for not being a better hitting pitcher, I guess I could have listened to that argument 3-4 years ago. Now you can't even do that. So that can't be the be-all, end-all. But I will go and point out again, 21-35 in the games that he has taken them out. It's not simply a stretch where, they didn't perform well offensively for a month for Blake Snell. This is now 3 years that the Padres aren't getting results when he's on the mound. And I think it's frustrating to have a guy who keeps liking where he's at. We hear that a lot from Blake Snell. His stuff is always good. His stuff breaks a lot. One of the reasons why it's hard to throw strikes when you're Blake Snell is because your balls break so much that they don't stay in the zone. And if guys don't swing at it, well, then they're going to be a ball a lot of the time. That's how breaking balls generally work in Major League Baseball.
When Jacob deGrom pitched for the Mets in 2018, he pitched 32 games. You know how many games they won? 10. In 2019, pitched 32 games. You know how many games they won? 11. Jacob deGrom in 2020 pitched 12. They won 4. In 2021, pitched 15. They won 7. A little bit better.
Losing record every single year, though, when Jacob deGrom was on the mound.
It happens.
No one denies that Jacob deGrom is
the best pitcher of our generation,
probably
maybe?
the best starting pitcher, in baseball.
I have no explanation for it, guys.
No,
if I did, I wouldn't be sitting here.
Blake Snell to Jacob deGrom.
No,
He's not Jacob deGrom.
What I'm saying is that it happens, and there's an anomaly sometimes. And they had that in New York with deGrom. We have it here with Snell in San Diego. I don't have an excuse. I don't. I just know that to go 5 innings and give up 2 runs with the San Diego Padres offense that's on paper should not be the death. It should not be the for whom the bell tolls. It shouldn't. I'll take it every time. 5 innings, 2 runs. Blake Snell. Sign me up. Done. Sign me up. It's not a fun ride. It's not a fun ride. It's exhilarating. It's edge of your seat. It's frustrating. But I'll take it every time out for the rest of the year. 5 innings full.
Make that the bar.
That's the bar. 5 innings, 2 runs. Let's see what we can do.
That'd be what about a 3.5 ERA?
Yeah. In this day and age, give me a break.
That's top 15 probably in Major League Baseball if that's how you end the season. Putting up those numbers every single start.
It's giving up early runs for this team is really it's the nail in the coffin, and it's unfortunate because nobody expected this offense to get off to an ice cold start, and that's what they are. Nobody expected Juan Soto to be doing what he's doing. A terrible game last night, Manny. Terrible game. Those are my guys, man. I'm bullish on both of those guys, which is a weird thing to say, but I didn't think I'd be put in a position where I'd have to be like, yeah, I'm going to stand by Juan Soto and Manny Machado. But here we are. So that's who I am. I'm stubborn. I'm bullish. I don't care that there's nothing to do that I work here. Fire me today. Put me on another radio station. If I'm on Sunny next door, you know what I'm talking about? How much I like Juan Soto and Manny Machado. So I don't want to hear that garbage. But I'm not mad at those comments from Snell. I want him to take positives away because I'll take 5 innings and 2 runs every time. Every time. I expect more from Joe. I expect more from you. Not you Darvish. I expect more from them. Why? Because they're capable of it, right? I'm not going to ask this guy to be anything more than that.
Going to say one thing that I did like. I told you I'd point out a couple of things. I really have been impressed by Ryan Weathers this year.
Absolutely.
Starting, now relieving.
Absolutely.
Coming in, and what a change I feel like we've seen in that young man. He had a 1-inning, 10-pitch effort that looked really good. Some other things I like, and then Juan Soto looks lost. We're going to hear from our guest Adam Jones, actually, about Juan Soto coming up next. All right, hour number 2 of Ben and Woods. We'll get some Take on Woods coming up here in a few minutes. If you want to get in early as a contestant, try to qualify for a trip to Las Vegas. Our phone lines are open, 833-288-0973. You can get in now. I know that Juan Soto has obviously not gotten off to a Juan Soto start.
I mean, it's been a very, very rough scene for him. I don't know what's going on. Last night's ABs were terrible.
I thought last night's ABs were a different level of bad and lost.
They were a different level of
bad. He had been a little, he's pulling the ball a little too much. He's hitting the ball on the ground a little bit too much. He's not quite there. That was Juan Soto's struggles early in the season. Yesterday, though, he looked as lost as I've ever seen him. Was it the first at bat? Did a lot, Juan Soto takes 3 balls, 3-0 count, and then takes a ball that it lights up the zone. I mean, right on the edge, starts walking to first base, has to get called back. No, it's a strike.
It's about the 4th time in 5 games he's done that.
Second, next pitch, same thing on the other corner. Starts taking off towards first base. No, that's a strike. Come on back. And then on the final pitch, he swings at one that is up by his eyeballs and swings through it to strike out. It's so un-Juan Soto-like that you can tell that the guy is simply in now the wrong headspace.
He's domed. He has been domed all year, and and
it's getting worse, not better.
Yeah, it's getting worse. We're not running out of time because there's still 137 games to play, but he's going to need to go on a tear at some point, and I don't know what you do. I don't know if I saw a lot of armchair managers with their optimal lineup last night. I have no idea. I mean, if you want to lead him off, Ben. And if you're just gonna go up there and look for a walk, just go lead off then. But he clogs up the base paths. I don't know what to do.
I mean, some people pointed out that his numbers in the 3 hole have been better than the number 2 hole. He said he likes batting third. I can't believe that it's that big of a difference between second and third. At some point, if you're Bob Melvin, you probably do have to just shake things up just to get him in a different headspace from where he is right now. But
it looks different even like yesterday than a week ago.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Absolutely.
Like, it just looks like now
2 weeks ago, I was like, oh, he's about to break out of it.
2 weeks ago, it looked like he was still trying to attack, but settling for a walk. Getting on base.
Of course.
Yesterday, at least.
I'm looking to walk.
Do we
have the audio? Should we play it here?
Yeah, we're gonna play it here before Adam actually comes on. But
we haven't played at that level, but I know in high school baseball, if I was struggling, I'd just go up there and look to walk.
I suggested on Twitter that maybe the day off today for Juan Soto. They got another lefty, Drew Smiley, pitching today. And everyone said. Well, he just had the day off. Yeah, but and I'm not saying that that's going to fix everything.
You're right, though,
but
man.
When you look as lost as you look in a game like that,
I wonder if yesterday could have been a day off. 2 days.
It could have been. I actually would have agreed with that. A 2 day in a row full reset.
48 hours.
Might have
traveling.
A better idea.
Let him hit Thumb or Smiley instead of Steele, who's throws pretty well. I don't know.
Jesse Rogers, who's in Chicago, told us Smiley's Steele's the real deal.
Yeah. He was fine last night. He was fine. He didn't blow me away. He's friggin' hittable. It's not Steve Carlton. This lineup.
No other teams have hit him either.
Right.
I mean, it's not just the Padres.
I get it.
4-0, and he's pretty dominant. I mean, it's 1 point something ERA. He's been fantastic.
He's been fine. He was fine. Last night he was fine, but he walked a bunch of guys. We just didn't hit. That's the deal. We're just not hitting. Nobody's hitting.
So what does it look like to a couple of former Major League Baseball players? We will have Adam Jones live at the bottom of the hour, but we thought we'd play these comments beforehand so we can talk to him about it. Adam, on his podcast with AJ Przinsky, Foul Territory, discussing the struggles of Juan Soto, and we thought this was kind of interesting.
Can someone tell Juan Soto that walks? I mean, I get it. He's a walker, but swing the bat. He gets 3-1. They throw a heater right down the middle, and he goes,
Przinsky.
He goes to first, and then he does a little shuffle. You're like, dude, that's the one you got to put in the stands. That's the one you up that slug, up the homer total. Instead, then he gets 3-2 and they'll break him on. He takes it. It's this far low with the runner on third and 1 out. And he walks to first like he just hit a game-winning home run. Like, dude, swing the bat.
That was always the thing against Votto. It was instead of Votto had opportunities to get 120 RBIs, but to hit 300 plus and have 430 on base percentage, he sacrificed that. He sacrificed the RBI and posed to you got other guys, me, AJ, you too. Hey, first pitch, breaking ball, man on third base, infield back. I'm rolling over on this. Take this ground ball up the middle. Give me this steak. I'm out. I ain't got to run the bases. But I don't know, man. He's an on-base machine. But it's like thing. If you're an on-base machine and you don't steal bases, what the hell are you? You're a big ass ATM running the bases. That's what he is. Big ass ATM running the bases. Okay, so 3-1, let it eat. It's okay to hit for him in this lineup. It is perfectly okay for him to hit 270 instead of 320. It's perfectly okay for that.
He ain't gonna hit 320. He's not. He's just not this year.
But he's not. I don't think he is. But it's okay to hit 250. But again, be more aggressive, Manny. One thing I love about Manny is he ain't gonna ever let you have a cookie. I don't give a first pitch. You ain't getting no cookie on him. If you make a bastard pitch, you make a bastard pitch. But you never get a cookie on him.
All right, so the point they're making, of course, is that Juan Soto is too passive at the plate.
Oh, yeah.
And
absolutely.
And it's worked for Juan Soto for years. His style, his selectivity has been very effective for Juan Soto early in his career. But it hasn't been. It wasn't last year during the regular season. He had 240 last year.
Yeah.
And it certainly hasn't been early in this season. And it is tough to fundamentally change who you are when you've had so much success early in your career. And I think Juan Soto may be, and maybe this is overstating it, might be heading toward a bit of a crossroads. Not that, he's going to be out of baseball in a couple of years.
Yeah.
I was offered $440 million and I turned it down. And within a year and a half, I was out of baseball.
Welcome to Enterprise Rent-A-Car. I'm Juan Soto. How may I help you?
I don't think he's at that type of crossroads. But he may need to, as Adam Jones and AJ Przinsky were suggesting, he may need to fundamentally change his perspective at the plate to have the kind of success now that he wants to have with this team in this lineup. With the Washington Nationals, after they won the World Series, he was the guy. He could do whatever he wanted. It didn't really matter. They weren't going anywhere. He knew that. They knew that. But now you're part of a larger whole of superstars, and your role probably has to be a little bit different than what it's been in the past, in simply being a guy who works counts, gets on base, and then occasionally drives the ball, and hits a few home runs.
I can't imagine being so great at something for so long. And again, it wasn't a one-off season. It was 4 seasons put together by that young man early in his career. 3 or 4, which is a lot. It's a lot of baseball. I can't imagine being so great at something and then the next day it just stops. It just stops. I don't know what that's like to go through. I hate it for him. I want him to do well. We need him to do well. I'm firmly in his corner. I firmly believe he will hit and can help us win. It's just not happening.
I mean, he did in the World Baseball Classic.
He did. He mashed.
He did against major league pitchers for the most part.
Yep.
He was good in the playoffs last year.
So a lot of
it's not like he doesn't have it anymore, and it's over for Juan Soto.
Yeah, he's not like old and falling apart. I mean, that's hardly the case. The guy should be in his prime right now. It's frustrating, man. I get it. And I see a lot online about the Padres' lack of hitting coach. That was a big topic last night. And look, when you get shut out 5 times in 15 days, their people are going to be looking to point fingers. Certainly. The way that I understand it is how it works there is they do Ryan Flaherty, Flash, is the offensive coordinator, right? Which is a weird term for a baseball team. And then Scott Coolbaugh was basically traded for Michael Berdar, who's now with the Tigers, who are right next to us, I believe, in hitting acumen.
They're hitting 216. The Padres
we're hitting 214, so
yeah.
Really fair trade there. I'm seeing a lot of, we need to get a hitting coach. We need to. Well, how many hitting coaches? I've been here since 2010. We've fired a hitting coach every year. It's like, at some point, man, it's on the players. The players need to execute, period. That's what it comes down to. Yes, you hire a hitting coach. You know why you want to hire a hitting coach? So you have somebody to blame. That's it. Blame the players. It's on them. They're the ones that got to swing the bat. That's how I feel. I mean, a hitting coach can help you and throw you front toss and do the drills and show you, hey, man, you're pulling a little bit. But when you get in the box, it's up to you to execute. That's how I've always felt. It's why I'm reticent always to kind of blame a manager, to kind of blame a coaching staff. I blame the players. If the players aren't playing well, it's on the players. They're professionals. You shouldn't need to be motivated every day, right?
Well, I don't think
Adam's my boss. He doesn't call me and fire me up to come
Soto's
in.
unmotivated.
Nor do I. I don't see that at all.
And we've talked about this before. By far and away, yes, every once in a while there's a player who gets a little lazy.
Sure.
In whatever it's baseball or whatever sport, they're not putting in the work necessary. But the vast majority of the time when a guy is struggling, it's because they're pressing and probably trying to do too much and overloading themselves with work and trying to figure it out too hard. It's not because they're simply sitting on their butt and just think, well, I'm good. It'll come back to me. I don't need to do anything. Does that ever happen? Yes. Should that be your go-to excuse when a guy is struggling? He just needs to get in the cage more? No, that is not how it works in the big leagues. They're constantly working on their game. All those guys. So that's not it. It's just a matter of landing on the right, whatever it is to focus on, the right little thing. You play golf. People who play golf out there, you can go to the range 50 times and you are still struggling on the golf course.
Ranger Rick,
you get the right one little tip that locks in, figures it out. You might play well for a while.
For a round.
And then
it all goes away.
It'll lose again. And you got to keep figuring it out.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know who the right hitting coach is. Here's what I do know. This organization has never hired him.
No, not really.
Never. He's never, in the 50 plus years of this organization, I think we've had some really good pitching coaches, Darren Balsley being one of them. I think Niebla's a really good pitching coach as well. We've never hired the right
hitting
hitting
coach. Some
of
the hitting coaches they've had here have done well other places.
Absolutely.
But it feels like with the Padres,
weird. It's
never really worked out. All right, we'll talk to Adam Jones about those comments about Juan Soto when he joins us at the bottom of the hour. Right now, though, let's play a little Take on Woods. All right, let's welcome Mike into the program. Mike, good morning.
Good morning.
Mike, you know our game, right?
I sure do.
All right, let's just get right to it. See if we can qualify
Bring
for
it,
the
Mike.
grand prize.
Let's go.
Getaway to Las
All right.
Vegas, the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. The tickets to Barry Manilow at the International Showroom. You can get your own at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino, or you can win them by beating or tying Woods here. Here are your categories for our musical trivia. Do the do. Songs that have like do, or do in the title. Smoke show. Songs and musical questions that revolve around the word smoke, and on. 5 song titles that end in the word on. So do the do, smoke show, or on and on. Mike, what would you like to play?
I'm going to go with a smoke show.
Smoke show. All right. Musical questions and answers revolving around the word smoke. 60 seconds on the clock. First question is our 2-second song. Paulie will play the clip. You need to give me both the title and the artist. And remember, everything kind of revolves around the word smoke in the category today. Pass if you don't know an answer. We'll come back to it if there's time left on the clock. You ready to play, Mike?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. 60 seconds on the clock. Category smoke show. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Mike. Let's take on Woods.
Pass.
What band teamed with Coldplay to release the hit Something Just Like This in 2017?
Pass.
According to Total Guitar Magazine, the number 4 riff of all time comes from which Deep Purple song?
Smoke on the Water.
Correct. In 1958, the Platters recorded one of the most successful versions of which timeless standard, beginning with the line, "They asked me how I knew."
Smoke it through your eyes.
Good enough. In Your Eyes. Snoop Dogg and Chris Christopherson are guest artists on the 2012 single Roll Me Up and Smoke Me When I Die by which legendary country artist?
Merle Haggard.
Incorrect. Let's go back to our 2-second song.
Round and Round. Smokey Robinson.
Oh, it is Smokey Robinson, but not Round and Round. Which band team with Coldplay to release the hit? Oh, all right. You got 2 of the 5. Yeah, it is. It was Tears of a Clown by Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. The Coldplay team up was with the Chainsmokers. You got Smoke on the Water. Smoke gets in your eyes, not through your eyes, and then Willie Nelson was singing with Snoop Dogg and Chris
I
Christopherson.
just played that for my Diddy with unlikely collaboration.
That's right. Roll Me Up and Smoke Me When I Die. So we got 2 there. We'll see how Woodsy does. Let's bring him back in for the same 5 questions in the same 60 seconds. All right, Mike's score is locked in. Woods getting his headphones on. Paul resetting our 2-second song. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Mike.
Tears of a Clown, Smokey Robinson.
Correct. Which band teamed with Coldplay to release the hit Something Just Like This in 2017?
Pass.
According to Total Guitar Magazine, the number 4 riff of all time comes from which Deep Purple song?
Smoke on the Water.
Correct. In 1958, the Platters recorded one of the most successful versions of which timeless standard, beginning with the line, "They asked me how I knew."
I truly love you. Smoke Gets in Your Eyes.
Correct. Snoop Dogg and Chris Christopherson are guest artists on the 2012 single Roll Me Up and Smoke Me When I Die by which legendary country artist?
Roll Me Up and Smoke Me When I Die. Willie Nelson?
Correct. Which band teamed with Coldplay to release the hit Something Just Like This in 2017?
Something Smoke? Pop Smoke.
Not Pop Smoke, but you did get 4 right, which is a win, 4-2. The Chainsmokers.
Chainsmokers
Are the and the category was Smoke Show today, and another win for Woods. You've been pretty solid here in the month of April.
Yeah, I got a hitting coach.
We
So
only have a couple of qualifiers, mostly ties. I think you've been very good in the month of April. All right, Mike, thank you for playing. Try again anytime in the future. See if you can get your name in for our grand prize drawing. All right, Don't Do This is coming up next. We could still talk about the Padres offense, but we'll take a break from that.
I've got more questions about Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes. I could be completely out of left field. Somebody will correct me, I'm sure. But another thing came out yesterday and made me go, huh, is this always how it works?
And I've got the craziest policy I've ever seen at a golf course before. For Don't Do This. That is next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station. Let's check traffic right now on 97.3 The Fan.
Don't do this.
It's time for Don't Do This.
What were you thinking?
3 stories from the world of sports that make us all shake our heads.
Why? How many times do I have to tell you?
I'm sorry, I fudged up, guys.
You idiot. You moron.
Dumbass.
The apple sometimes does fall from the tree.
Don't do this
Do not tweet that.
with Ben and Woods
I like a Nickelback song or two.
on 97.3 The Fan.
Want to stay connected with Ben and Woods all week long? Give us a follow in the Odyssey app for easy access to clips, show reminders, and more. Simply download the Odyssey app, follow Ben and Woods. Listen to us no matter where you are. Adam Jones coming up in about 10 minutes. But first, our daily admonition to be better. We call it Don't Do This. I will start today with, I don't know, maybe a policy that tried to do something nice for golfers in the Buffalo area. The Buffalo Tournament Club, located in the suburb of Lancaster, east of Buffalo, New York, decided they would allow outside alcohol onto the course. It's nice. You bring your own, maybe a cooler of beer or something. But they also thought, well, we can't lose all the revenue. We like to charge guys $8 beers on the course. We'd lose a lot of money. So they just asked that players would pay a $5 corkage fee when if they brought their own. Yeah, if they brought their own beer. Just everybody pays $5, and you can drink your own stuff on the course. But then a couple of players objected and said, "Well, I'm not going to drink." And they said, "Well, how do we know you're not going to be drinking while you're out there? I don't want to pay the corkage fee. We brought beers, but they're not for me." So the course said, "Oh, all right. So if you take a breathalyzer test after the round and you pass it, then we will give you $5."
You're joking.
Back.
It's $5.
Yes. There was also a $1 fee to take the breathalyzer, but again, you'd also get that back if you passed the test after
Boy,
the round.
that really backfired on him.
Yeah, it wasn't that popular, and they have rescinded that very, very unusual policy that they instituted at the
Guys,
course.
If you've ever played golf, everybody has like 6 Coors Lights in their bag anyway.
So,
that's pretty much how it goes.
So they've discontinued. They don't no longer allow outside alcohol again. You have to buy your own.
Okay.
However, their new policy is that players are allowed to bring coolers with them, and employees will not search the coolers.
Is there a cooler fee?
No, there's no cooler fee anymore.
What is good? Just be normal.
It's a don't ask, don't tell policy. They've made this
don't ask, don't tell.
Really made this overcomplicated.
If you see something, say something. Like, what is happening?
My goodness, there may be drinking going on this golf course. I have never in my life.
Best part is they only do breathalyzers to make sure you weren't drinking the beer you brought in. They're not going up and being like, "Hey, buddy, how was your round? You bought 14 beers. You're free to drive." They're not doing breathalyzers for safety.
They said last year only 668 people paid the fee and said, "Yes, I'm going to pay the $5 corkage fee." But employees estimated they collected 100,000 beer bottles from the course during the summer. So apparently 668 people drank 100,000 beers at the golf course last year.
That is truly incredible. That is truly, truly incredible. We talked yesterday about the just the massive amount of kids leaving University of Colorado, which again was kind of under the directive of their new head coach, Deion Sanders. Yeah, but we were curious about some guys that balled out in the spring game. Then the very next day saying, "All right, we're going to go to the portal." Don't know if it came from them. Don't know if it came from Deion. Not sure. Just one of those weird, interesting stories to watch. This one came out and it was pretty interesting as well. Colorado transfers took to Twitter after being denied access, Ben, to their film, their practice film. So a tight end named Zachary Courtney said, "For the coaches who are trying to recruit me, I'm sorry, I can't get you guys any film from my practices since I'm not allowed to have it because the head coach at CU won't allow it. This is very unlucky. And if you have any questions, just text me." And then another one of the guy that's leaving said,
"How did you look on your film in practice?"
I looked really
good.
Coach,
you look good.
It's me,
huh?
Zach Courtney. I'm really good. Trust me. I can play. Are you sure?
Because you didn't get into a lot of games. Oh, no, but if you saw my
practice
film, which they won't let me have,
I'm
You'd
good.
be incredibly impressed by my skill.
It's very interesting. There's some maybe potential. I'm trying to figure out why. Is it gamesmanship? Is it? I don't
even know. I mean,
because those were old practice. They weren't Dion's practices. I don't think. Right?
I would feel like practice video is proprietary.
I feel that's
but I also
true
feel like,
too.
Is there a huge? I mean, is there a big deal giving it out? I mean, you don't want to give like a rival practice video that shows all your plays that you're working on. That would be bad.
Now Dion responded with somebody it was on 3CFB tweeted Colorado transfers took to Twitter after being denied access to their film. Dion texted a blue hat that apparently means lie. That means
cap.
Oh, okay, cap.
Lying.
Yeah, that's cap. He's saying they're lying.
I
think Deion Sanders Jr.
2023
I'm
slang.
sorry.
Oh, okay.
Deion Sanders Jr.
Not
said cap.
It's like big cap.
Yeah, big cap, big line. So that we'll see how.
I still don't know what you mean at all, Paul. It's not in my.
You're not
lexicon.
supposed to know, Ben.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Finally,
not for you.
A little do this.
DD mega doo-doo.
Involving your San Diego Padres, just tweeted out by Bob Nightingale. Congratulations to left-handed pitcher Tom Cosgrove, who's being called up by the San Diego Padres to make his MLB debut after spending 7 years in the minors. Tom Cosgrove, who had a nice year last year at Double-A San Antonio, went 6-1 with a 2.45 ERA, and has not been scored upon in 7 appearances for the El Paso Chihuahuas this year. Apparently, is joining the Padres bullpen. I didn't see that officially from the team yet.
I saw Bob Nightingale,
but
it's good.
My guess would be since Ray Kerr came in and threw the last inning, you probably get another lefty up in the pen if needed, and if he does get into a game, it would be his major league debut. He did pitch a couple of spring appearances for the Padres this year. Don't know a ton about Tom Cosgrove, but we'll have a new face in the Padres bullpen apparently this afternoon. And good luck to Tom. We're counting on you to turn the season around.
Yeah, the weight of the world.
This will be the pivot point of the. Everyone will say everything turned around when they brought Tom Cosgrove up to join the bullpen.
Pretty cool though. That many years in the minors.
Always a
fun
do
to
this
see.
when you get that call, and maybe we'll get a video of him getting the news from, one of his coaches or something. It's always fun. And that's don't and do this for a Wednesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, AJ is packing for Mexico City. Going to make the long flight from Barcelona to Mexico City to cover the Padres Giants series, or just be there for the Padres Giants series. I'm sure he'll be representing Major League Baseball in some capacity while he's down there. But before that, he's going to join us. We'll talk about those comments about Juan Soto's struggles, being too selective, not aggressive enough at the plate, with our weekly Adam Jones appearance next on 97.3 The Fan. If you were listening earlier this hour, you heard some interesting comments from the Foul Territory podcast with Adam Jones and AJ Przinsky regarding Juan Soto and his struggles so far with the San Diego Padres. We've got AJ on the line, Adam Jones, that is, and we will discuss it with him right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Tannick.
Well, some relief out of the South Bay northbound side of the 805 Telegraph Canyon. They cleared that motorcycle accident out of the 2 left lanes, but we are seeing quite a bit of leftover slowing. Eastbound 56, a crash right at the southbound 15 connector. Car and pickup truck, they are over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Tannick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, checking in with our Globetrotter and 5-time baseball all-star Adam Jones, who I understand, Woods, is still in Barcelona, but will be making his way to Mexico City tomorrow for the Padres-Giants series this weekend. Adam, good morning, and welcome back to Ben & Woods. How are you?
Gentlemen, how you doing? Yes, I will be traveling down to Mexico City. I got a friend down there who's already sent me 8 taco places. It's going to be live. And then, I got to watch a little bit of baseball and go over the rules with the umpires, and I got to do a little bit of work, but it's going to be a taqueria for me.
Are they going to let you in the clubhouse? And if they do let you in the clubhouse, what would you say?
Well, I mean, I have full access everywhere. I'm not part of the team. I'm not part of the philosophy. I mean, my whole thing when I see guys is, hey, how you feeling? You healthy? Keep at it. Keep grinding. I mean, I'm not going to go into a major leaguer's locker and say, hey, I need you to, you should start doing this. I'm never ever going to do that. Never overstep my boundaries. I will just go in there and just ask the guys how they are, health, how they feel. And, they're grown men. They know what they need to do. Numbers in baseball don't lie.
Do guys ask you?
They'll tell you if you're good or bad.
Do guys ask you for advice when you're out there at the ballpark?
Some do. I mean, obviously at the major league level, not as much. Majority of the guys that ask me for any advice are college kids, high school kids who reach out to me through social medias. The major leaguers, very rarely, unless I see something that's from a friend of mine, somebody I have a relationship with. If I see something that I see as really different, then I might reach out to them. But for the most part, like the major leaguers, they know what they're doing. But if they were to reach out, 100%, I would try and give my best opinion on whatever they're asking.
And we all agree with Adam 100%, right? If people want your advice and opinion and ask you, be generous with it and help as much as you can. If you are not asked, then keep it to yourself. If people don't want to know what your opinion is, then they could go and listen to your podcast. Juan Soto could go and listen to your podcast if you wanted to get your opinions on what's been going wrong with him so far, not just this year, but really since he was traded from the Washington Nationals to the San Diego Padres. And some interesting comments we played a little bit earlier with you and AJ Przinsky talking about what you perceive maybe as a lack of aggression from Juan Soto that is kind of haunting him right now. Can you elaborate on that, Adam?
I do. And the reason why I said that is because the people hidden behind him are unbelievable. When Zimmerman was hidden behind him, when Rendon was hidden behind him, just look at his numbers. He does not chase. So you eliminate that. He don't swing at bad pitches. You can just eliminate that part. But balls that are in the zone, you got to be more aggressive, even if it's the first pitch. And I get it. He leads baseball in either walks or pitches seen per at bat, and that's his game. But with Manny, Bogarts, Tatis, Cronenworth, Cruz,
Carpenter,
Grisham, I mean, our lineup. The lineup is so strong that they don't need him to be the superstar. They just need him to be good, and every RBI out there, get it, because they're going to pitch to him. I don't want to pitch to anybody with Machado or Bogarts lurking. I don't. Those are guys who have had 100 RBIs in their career. So pitchers are going after him a lot more. And maybe he's surprised. He's like, well, I'm Soto. Don't you see the name on the back? Maybe they ain't gonna just pound the zone and come after me. Maybe they go 3-1. Maybe they're gonna try and trick me. They're not right now. They're like, hey, you struggling a little bit? Because the numbers, the analytics are saying he's not hitting the velo as much right now. So guys are like, look, throw as hard as you can, see if he can turn it around. He's going to get to some of them, but his game is I've watched him. He's an aggressively patient hitter, if that makes any sense. He don't swing outside the zone. So with the guys behind him, man, just again, we don't need him to be the superstar hitting 330 with a 580 on base. That'd be fantastic. Oh, that'd be great. Who wouldn't want that? But you need the guy to drive in runs. That's what you're paying all that money for. You're paying for RBIs and home runs, not necessarily walks. Now, if he was Grisham or Ozokar and ran like the wind, hey, get 150 walks. That's going to play.
Yep.
But he's not that guy. He's a bat. The bat needs to talk, not the walks. And again, walks are fantastic. They move the line, especially late in the game. They're fantastic. But when it was like the Votto thing that I explained, Votto got hurt a lot because in the RBI department, because he took the walk. It'd be a 3-1 curveball or something. He would just take it for a strike and then get the walk. And I would sit it on the foul territories that me and AJ, first pitch curveball. Look at Manny. I'm telling you, first pitch curveball or something, man on third base, less than 2 outs. Manny will expand the zone to get the stake. The name of the game in the clubhouse is stakes for the players. Obviously, analytics, they don't care about them as much. They care about moving the chains. We get that. But in the clubhouse, it's about stakes. And, he has opportunities to get more stakes. And if he's I'm not the hitting coach. But as a fan, and which I am now, if he was a little bit more aggressive, I think people would be a little bit more happy.
Yeah, I mean, the talking to Adam Jones here on Ben and Woods this morning. The problem too is that the guys behind him right now aren't hitting. Manny's off to his slowest start that we've seen in a while. I'm not sure what's going on. I've seen him attack first pitch, which he was really good at last year. I think he hit 400 or something on first pitch. He's missing some balls to right field. Seemingly looks locked in, and then can look lost the next game. What are you seeing out of Manny right now?
Hey, Manny's I got his baseball card. I've seen the back of his baseball card. He's got a baseball reference. He's going to be who he's going to be. So I'm not worried about anything with him. His track record speaks for itself. Unless he's not in the lineup, I'm not worried about him. Because the second he gets hot, we ain't going to be discussing anything about him. Guys, it's like a lot of guys, like Bogarts, it's like Tatis. Once these guys just get hot, nobody discusses it. We discuss their problems. But it's like, one thing can make Manny click. One thing can make Soto click. I don't know what that is because, again, I'm not in their clubhouse. But those are guys with track record. So I'm not – like Manny, I'm definitely not worried about. Soto, I wouldn't say I'm worried about because of his track record, but it's a little bit cause of concern just because it's been a year now.
Yeah.
It's been
almost a year.
Almost 100 and some games. Yeah, 100 and some games. Or close to. So, guys, people want results. Name of the game is results. I don't care what you say. He's a fantastic guy and all that, but the name of the game is results. So I think people just want results.
What we've asked you this before. I think it's an important. Topic to bring up again, AJ. The value of a hitting coach. I know you played with Ryan Flaherty, Flash. He's now the offensive coordinator, which was different. That's a different thing. You guys didn't have an offensive coordinator. You had a hitting coach. They brought in, is it Mike or Scott? One of them passed away. Scott Coolbaugh.
This is Scott Coolbaugh.
Yeah, Scott Coolbaugh from the Tigers. And listen, you hear it all the time. It's an easy thing to say. The approach is wrong and this and that. It's just the results aren't there. How much can a hitting coach help? And do you think the Padres should hire a dedicated hitting coach for the San Diego Padres?
Hire me, man. Hire me. Call me. No. Coolbaugh is awesome because what I love about Coolbaugh, I had him for 3 years in Baltimore, and he's what your approach is. Let's fine tune that. What your strengths are. Let's fine tune that. But you have to, at the end of the day, give respect to the opponent. They're the one. They're not. It's not batting practice. They're not soft tossing the ball right up the middle. These guys are pounding. These guys are pitching. The Padres made it to the National League Championship Series. They're 4 games away, 3 wins away from going to the World Series. They're spending 300 and something or 200 and something million luxury tax. Everybody knows about them. There's a big target on their back. Nobody's going and just be like, San Diego, let's just go here and get some fish tacos and walk around the parks and stuff. No, they're coming to San Diego to do business, and because there's a target on their back now, and that's what happens when you're good. So it's like it's a good problem to have, a miserable problem to have, all the above problems to have. But it's the one you have, and you have a good team, and you're spending a lot of money. And the fans of San Diego know that. By them high ass ticket prices, I tried to buy season tickets last year. I ain't paying no $1,400 a game. What? Per seat? But you're paying, whoever's paying that money, they want to see wins because that's expensive. I don't give a damn if they're a corporation writing it off or they're the fans sitting out in right center field or in the plaza. I don't care what. They want to see results. And with a team this talented, this good, I mean, it's going to be exciting. And I know they've gotten off to a normal start, like a lot of clubs. I guess Tampa, everybody wants their team to get off the Tampa start. Sorry, it's not going to happen. But they're still fine. And there's 130 something games to go. Just let it go. Let it warm up.
So yesterday, they said, was one of the 5 coldest games in San Diego Padres history. Temperatures in the 30s. I'm sure you played in some cold ones in Baltimore early in the season. How unfun is that as a hitter, especially? I mean, they are all in there. They got the ski tops on and everything, trying to stay warm. And it's not an excuse. I mean, the Cubs scored 6 runs.
Yeah.
Both conditions are the same for both teams. And I got to imagine that's got to be one of the more unpleasant things when you got to play a game and it's 38 degrees and windy out.
Hey, there's a saying in the big leagues, man. It's 75 and sunny. I don't care what you're talking about. It was a beautiful day. That was a beautiful day out there. That was beautiful. I don't care what you're talking about. No. Hey, I'm going to tell you this, though. The Latin players, they always make the cold look worse because they're from the equator. Yeah. They don't do cold. So anytime it'd be like 60, they're like, Papi, no, frio. No, Papi, frio. No. So the Latins make it look cold, but no, 38 degrees is cold. I don't give a damn where you're from. You're from northern Edmonton. I don't care where you're from. That's cold, especially to play a game. Like if you're out going to the opera or going out to dinner, walking the streets with your friends, that's cool. But being out there playing a game and they're going to pound you in with sinkers, everybody throw hard, or they're going to throw you sliders, hit it off the end. Yeah, playing in the cold has never been fun. But again, it's you play the schedule. So you find a way to do something. You get on base any way you can. You drop a bunt down. Like there's all sorts of things you can do to combat weather in the cold. Because again, nobody's trying to hit a 96 mile an hour sinker. I don't give a damn who you are.
You got that snot coming out. It's so cold, but you're wearing a face guard. Like now you have a wet, like whatever Tatis was wearing last night. Orsillo goes, I can't confirm or deny that's actually Fernando Tatis Jr. up there. A little levity to another shutout. I mean, Adam, it's been surprising, man, to say the least, for this team to get shut out five times in 15 days, man, it's hard to wrap your head around. I do still subscribe to the better now than in September. I hope to look back on this part of the season as a not so fond memory. And I still believe and still think that I will. I think in September, you look back and go, man, remember how rough that was in April when the calendar turns May. Hopefully they can get it going. But 5 shutouts in 15 games it's almost unbelievable.
Right, but I mean, look at the records right now. I mean, Dodgers are 13-11, Arizona's 13-12, Padres are 12-13, San Francisco's 10-13. Yep. I mean, Arizona right now is acting like they went to the NLCS last year. Yeah. The Dodgers, they're just like they're just like melancholy, like whatever. We know we'll wait for the summer to either panic or do whatever. The Giants, same way. They over there loaded. There's like the San Francisco fans just high, like, you know what? We'll figure it out in the summer and see what goes on. Colorado knew that they was out since last year. So, it's a wave of emotions. And San Diego's the one that's like, hey, we lost last night, man. What the hell? We won today.
It's been rough.
Yeah, San Diego's the best. Nah, man. Exactly. They're the only one that are like really like living and dying right now with victories. Everybody else in the division isn't. So just calm down, San Diego. All but again, I understand why. I understand expectations bring expectations.
Yep.
Well, Adam, safe travels. You got a direct flight or you got connections? How do you get from Barcelona to Mexico City?
I only do direct.
Okay.
I generally do direct. If it has a direct, I don't like connection flights. Only San Diego doesn't do straight to Barcelona, unfortunately, but it goes to Munich. So, I'm not a big fan of connecting flights.
All right. So good luck this weekend. We'll check in with you next week on your experience with the team down there in Mexico City, and have a good trip.
All right. Appreciate
Thanks,
you.
buddy.
There he is, Adam Jones on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads.
Yeah, a little voice of reason ish there from Adam Jones, somebody that's been there, done it. It's not fun. It's not pretty by any stretch. And I the only thing I disagree with, I do feel like everyone's trying to do a little too much because Juan knows that Manny's scuffling and Manny knows that Juan's scuffling, and Tatis hasn't lit the world on fire since he's come back. Bogarts has been about as better than advertised. But after that, man, you really on this team, you got one hitter that you feel pretty confident in his ABs right now. And that is Xander Bogaerts. They really, honestly, you watch the rest and you're like, ooh, Tatis he looked terrible in his last at bat. Terrible. But also, you're down 6 runs. You want to get the hell out of there.
Well, when you're down 0-1 before you even
before you step in the box. Yeah, 100%.
And then they throw one pitch, and you're now 0-2. That's a tough at bat.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to Fernando Tatis Jr. in the top of the 9th inning. Now, had it been still a 2-0 game and, Tatis represented the go-ahead run,
right,
I probably would be a little more up in arms this morning about how it ended. When you're down 6-0, it feels more like, all right, it's a throwaway.
Yeah,
and
let's go.
Flush it and move on to the next game, which the Padres will try to do this afternoon. And got another guy. I mean, I know that other teams face tough pitchers as well. It does feel like the Padres keep hitting guys who are either aces or pitching like aces. And this time it's Drew Smyly, who is coming off his near perfect game the last time he was out there against the Dodgers in a 13-0 win. The only hit they got was a little dribbler when he collided with Yan Gomes in front of the plate. That was the only base runner for the Dodgers against Drew Smyly in his last start. So Padres will be going up against another guy who's seemingly locked in here early in the season. And they got to figure out a way to put some runs on the board.
It's Drew Smyly, for the love of God. I don't care what he did at his last start. It's Drew Smyly.
I don't mind what Adam said, though. Lay down a bunt. You maybe mix things up a little bit. I don't believe like big-time hitters should be laying down bunts all season long. You've got to let your guys swing. But when things are going poorly, there's something to be said for shaking it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people on my Twitter timeline were asking for, change the lineup. You go, well, no matter what lineup you put, Xander Bogaerts is still the only guy who's hitting. You could mix everybody up. The only thing I might do is put Xander Bogaerts up a little higher, and just because you want him up as much as possible right now, since he is the guy who's hitting.
But it's the promise of what could be. It's the promise, man. If Tatis does get on and Soto walks, if Manny gets again, these are not
Manny and Soto for a little bit,
for a second. Yeah, these are not guys that you're not familiar with, and I know people are tired of hearing the track record BS, but it's not really BS. Their promise. These aren't prospects, is what I'm saying. Like, man, I'm telling you, this Adley Rushman kid's going to be really good if we give him some time. This isn't Austin Hedges we're trying to sell you on. This is Manny Machado and Juan Soto, guys that have done it. They're both struggling.
And they're always right next to each other in the lineup,
Split them up.
which turns into a lost inning when they keep coming up and struggling.
Oh, it's brutal.
Split them up. If they both get going, well, you have worse problems. Oh, I shouldn't have split them up. They're both hitting right now. You can do it tomorrow then. You got to get them going, though.
Got to get them going.
All right, we'll come back. We haven't talked about the heckling for Fernando Tatis Jr., how he responded to that. One of the things I liked yesterday. We'll do that next on The Fan.
All right, halfway home on a Wednesday, 2 hours of complaining makes the time go by. I found. It's Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. It's our executive producer. Ben Higgins, our Secretary of Homeland Exploration, also joins us. Gentlemen, how's it going?
I am a little unsure as to what level of agitated I should really be. Because part of me says, heck, they just took 3 of 4 from the Arizona Diamondbacks on the road.
No doubt.
They could still win this series against the Chicago Cubs.
Correct.
They win today. They win tomorrow.
You win the series.
We'll look fairly silly as a fan base for overreacting to one shutout loss in 38-degree weather at Wrigley Field.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
But part of me also says, watching this team, they're not what I think they could and should be right now.
Not even close.
So maybe I should be concerned, and we should be having these discussions. So I'm trying to figure out which way I really need to be going here, because I could totally see them winning the next 2 days.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, why couldn't they? There's no reason they couldn't go out there, have another series win, have a great road trip, finish it up in Mexico City, and come home next week in first place feeling great about the San Diego Padres. That's all on the table right in front of them without having to play, insanely good baseball. They don't need to win 20 in a row to get back into this thing.
Yeah, there doesn't need to be some massive run. That team is absolutely capable of ripping off 10 wins in a row. They absolutely are capable. No question. I mean,
I'd be surprised.
I'll be surprised if
they don't.
Yeah,
have an 8 to 10 game winning streak. Now, does it start today? I don't know. They are undeniably struggling at the plate. Multiple guys getting off to slow starts. And is it just a slow start thing, or are there deeper, more fundamental issues that are at play here? And we won't know without the perspective of a little bit of time. So, we react as fans do, and, we get agitated when we see another shutout performance, another game with no hits with runners in scoring position. Honestly, the Padres are 12-13, and I had been keeping track of those 13 losses.
Though.
I think about 8 or 9 of them, they just haven't had a hit with runners in scoring position. They just haven't come through. They had opportunities. They didn't do so. And anyone who follows baseball statistics will tell you that's something that all teams go through, where they just have, the runners in scoring position thing is not consistent from day to day. Some days you get them, some days you don't. And when you don't, it tends to look kind of ugly because you don't score. You only score a run or two and you lose those games. But you can't, there's no way you can go work on it in the cage. Like, okay, yeah, everything looks good. Now do it with runners in scoring position. Well, the same game. It really is. You just have to, let the averages even out over the course of time on that.
Yeah, you do. And it's the coming in today and trying to come up with a fresh approach of talking about a team that got shut out again. And every third day, seemingly, this is what we're having to do. And I know they're dying. I know they're dying. And they want to win. They have expectations. They have World Series expectations. I know that probably I bet you the most calm person about all this is probably Peter Seidler. I'm sure he is. He is that way. He is a lot more zen than any of us could ever hope to be. I can tell you AJ Preller is probably not super stoked on the results right now. Nor he didn't sound like he was super stoked on Friday when we talked to him, essentially said, no, we expect to play well all year long.
How much live and die with every game do you think AJ Preller has in him?
I think more this year than ever. Like I think most Padres fans, I really do. I've lost myself as a fan. I've lost myself. I really have. We talked about it a little bit last week. I've lost the ability to be cool, and I just don't. When we got down 2 runs yesterday, I mean, people do it as a bit on Twitter, like that's game. I really felt that. I felt like, yeah, that's probably it. That's probably it. And in my mind, I thought it's not going to end up 2-0. I definitely felt that. So I've lost myself as a fan a little bit. Usually more positive, usually more big picture. But it's been hard. It's been difficult. Twitter makes it way, way more difficult. Holy smokes. But I do know, as somebody that's watched baseball my whole life, like all you guys out there, there's so many games left to play. I mean, there really are. And I do expect these guys to hit better. Just don't know when it's going to happen. I would do anything for it to happen. Believe you me. I would do anything for it to happen. If it took me doing something ridiculous, I would do it. It's confounding, man. It really is confounding to watch our guys that are so talented struggle so badly, and all struggle seemingly at the same time. It's a very tough watch, and it's gutting my soul a little bit.
One thing you had to like watching yesterday's game was how Fernando Tatis Jr. reacted to his first truly, I mean, not even truly hostile, but at least somewhat hostile road environment. And, I was reading the AC Daily newsletter, and he actually sat out there for the first 3 innings just to see how it would be for Fernando Tatis Jr. and said, be surprised. He got love even from Cubs fans.
Yeah.
There was a lot of support. And then as the game went on and, it got colder and people started drinking a little bit more, the chanting started. And that came after a sensational catch, robbing Seiya Suzuki of a base hit, a sliding grab in right field. And then the fans start chanting. And how does Fernando respond? Well, he starts dancing to the chants of he's on steroids. He's not, doing that steely glare that most players would do. Like, I'm not even listening to this. I'm focused. I'm so focused on the game. You can't distract me. He actually is
the best possible reaction.
Yes, it's really all you can
dancing out there to the heckles of the opposing team. I couldn't have loved it more, what I was seeing out there. Obviously, it didn't help the Padres win yesterday, but it truly shows you that I feel like, not going to worry about Fernando Tatis Jr. now in this comeback, in this return from
worry about
how long he's been out.
Worry about his health, worry about his, his production, but his mental state, I don't think it's going to grind on him at all. The only thing that's going to grind on this team is losing and getting shut out. And if they, they lose 5-6 in a row, it's going to start to wear on fans, and you're going to start to look like me, which nobody wants. So
it's almost a little easier to struggle right now because you're not alone in the lineup.
Yeah,
it's true. You're not putting up big numbers. It might be more difficult, Fernando's hitting, what is he hitting? 180 or something.
4 for 22.
If Juan Soto was mashing and Manny was mashing and Xander was mashing, you might actually feel a little more of the spotlight on you. Like, I'm not the only guy not pulling my weight. But with Juan Soto struggling,
buddy,
and
we got 7 weak links. You're good.
Manny struggling, you actually feel kind of a bit of a camaraderie, I would think, with a lot of your teammates right now. Like, all right, well, I'm not the only one, at least, and we'll get this going. I know that they think they're going to get it going. I think I'm going to get it going here soon as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's the prayer. That's the prayer that they all start hitting, and you just want to see them having fun again. He was obviously having fun in right field, and it's the best way to respond to that. Kill him with kindness, kill him with love. Was doing the gritty for little kids out there last night and having fun, because baseball is fun, lest we forget. And I did wear my shirt to remind myself that baseball is the best, because it is. I begged for this. I wanted this. I'll be right there in front of the TV. I can't wait for tonight's game. I can't wait. Let me down again. You know what I mean? Like, I keep coming back, and I will always come back. So
thank you, sir. May I have another?
Thank you, sir. May I have another? What am I? I'm a masochist or a sadist? I'm a masochist.
We
all are.
I got some quotes from Tatis. Do you have any sound from Fernando Tatis? All right. So quotes from after the game. He said, "You hear everything, but you just pay attention to what you know is correct. Most of the game was positive. Even the Cubs fans, they had my back. And you just give them a little bit of something. They were just happy. That's what it's about. I've got to enjoy it. It's going to be a long run. It's going to have its ups and downs. So you need to have fun out there." Fernando Tatis Jr.
No problem with it. And
it's a healthy attitude.
It really rankled a lot of other fan bases, which is always fun. He's not, as Jesse said yesterday, he's not ever going to become the villain. He's not going to dye his hair black, stop signing autographs, flip off little kids, push them out of the way. He's still going to be Fernando. He's not going to be a villain. People are going to boo him. They're going to try to get under his skin. And
he didn't turn and point and yell at the
when he made that
crowd
catch,
and, have somebody removed or anything like that. When they were chanting at him, he danced.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's a really good response. I mean, he's going to be such a valuable part of this team. And honestly, we don't really go anywhere without those top 4 guys doing their jobs. And he's a valuable part of that, man. And let's make no mistake, that was a phenomenal catch he made last night. He actually made a couple of really nice plays. The ball down the line that I legit thought was going to get past him. I think Wisdom hit it, came up firing right to Kim, at second base, but I thought that ball was past him. It wasn't, and he made that really, really nice sliding catch that was really, really clutch. So, listen, wasn't enough to win a ball game, but he looks pretty good out there.
Elsewhere in Major League. Yeah, he's coughing. He's in
Kendry
trouble.
Morales with a home run. Vladimir Guerrero had key hits along, excuse me, along the way. And the Angels batting order. Angels batting order just, excuse me. Wore out the Red Sox pitching staff.
It's the best.
By the way, so elsewhere in baseball, the Tampa Bay Rays were shut out yesterday. Padres aren't the only one. They were 14-0. No, but it can happen to any team at any night, and you can throw out a couple of the window. We're only worried because it's happened 5 times in 15 games, and you worry, is that going to be a trend? Is this going to be a team that gets shut out 25 times this year? Because if it is, then you have a real problem. You can't win a game when you don't score. I don't think the Padres are going to be a team that is going to be shut out over and over again over the course of this season. I think we get a little snapshot in time of guys who are struggling all at the same time. I doubt that's going to continue a long way through, just like the Rays aren't worried about a 5-0 loss to the Astros. First home loss of the year after 14 straight wins. The Twins beat the Yankees 6-2. Did you see what was notable about that?
First series win?
Season series. So they've already played.
Yeah.
They got their 2 series against the Yankees. They've clinched the season series. The first time since 2001 that the Twins have won a season series from the Yankees.
Staggering, man. That's
I think there's a few
years.
There's a few playoff sweeps in there as well.
There
The Yankees have owned the Twins like no team has owned another team in baseball.
Does that tell you how weird baseball is this year? I mean, and you look at some things that are going on around the game with the Pirates being so good. You look at how the Cardinals are just dying right now. I feel so bad for our beloved Katie Wu, whose mentions look a lot like mine. She's very active on Twitter as well. I texted her
Padres
last
are game
night.
under 500. The Cardinals are truly struggling
They
right
are
now.
they are scuffling.
They had a win. They felt they were one strike away from a win
Helsley
last
on
night.
the bump. You're feeling pretty good, and it's just not going your way. They are 9-15 right now.
Blake Sable hit a walk-off home run with 2 outs and 2 strikes in the bottom of the 9th inning for the San Francisco Giants for a walk-off 5-4 win last night, continuing the St. Louis Cardinals struggles. And the Pirates, who have gotten off to such a great start, built a 7-2 lead over the Dodgers yesterday.
Blew that one.
But couldn't hold on to it. Dodgers rallied to 7-5, and then Chris Taylor hit a go-ahead 3-run home run in the 8th inning as the Dodgers, at least for today, took over first place from the Arizona Diamondbacks, who lost to the Royals yesterday. But again, no one's running away with it in the National League West. Might be a different story here if the Padres were in the AL East and we're in last place and we're looking at the Tampa Bay Rays now, 8 games ahead of you. But when you're fortunately right now in a division where no one is running away and hiding with things early, you can be a little more patient and wait out your hitters and let them figure things out before you have to panic.
I would say, though, out of all of the teams that were supposed to be contenders, I'd say we are the most disappointing.
More than the Cardinals?
I'd say so. Yeah, I would.
More than the Phillies?
Yeah. Phillies would be close. They'd be close because they actually went further than we did last year. They added a really, really big piece in Trey Turner, but they're also without Bryce Harper. He's not playing. I would honestly, I feel, is that fair? I mean, I do feel that out of all the teams with the expectations,
I think the only 3 candidates for biggest disappointments to start the season are the Padres, the Phillies, who are 11-13, and the Cardinals, who are 9-15. Padres have the best record of those 3 teams. But probably also have the highest expectations out of those 3. Certainly higher than the Cardinals. Phillies have pretty high expectations.
They do.
But they're without,
they're
without Bryce Harper.
Yeah, it's huge.
And the Padres just got Fernando Tatis Jr. back. So I'd say they're similarly disappointed with the starts. The Phillies are 5 games back of the Braves. That's not much, but it's certainly Padres sitting a game and a half. It's nothing right now. It's nothing. All right, we'll talk more Padres baseball coming up. Joe Sheehan, who writes a great newsletter on baseball, and we had him on a couple of months ago. I got some thoughts. He's also writing about the A's potential move to Las Vegas. We'll chat with him at the bottom of the hour. I do want to talk a little hoops. Even Woods can't deny these basketball playoffs have been pretty entertaining
I cannot deny it, Ben.
I didn't have a lot of expectation. I thought we were going to get 3 blowouts last night, and we didn't. We got 3 really good games again.
The Atlanta Hawks play here
last night in the NBA. So we'll touch on that coming up as well with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station. Check traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. This hour 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Hint Water. Hint infuses pure water with fruit essences to create surprisingly accurate fruit flavors without any sugar, diet sweeteners, or calories. Available in stores or at hintwater.com. Yesterday, there were 3 games, all with the same essential setup in the NBA. Home team up 3-1, looking to close out the series. Had the Celtics, the Nuggets, and the Suns all looking to move on to the second round. And you were talking to me about the spreads yesterday, all right around double digits.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
like
solid
13.5.
Solid home favorites, yet it did not play out that way in a very entertaining night of basketball. And it started with, I thought, the biggest surprise, the Atlanta Hawks rising up to beat the Boston Celtics 119-117 on just an insane Trae Young three-pointer with 1.8 seconds remaining, pulling up a good 6 feet behind the three-point line and just burying it as cool as can be to keep his team alive in the playoffs.
Weren't they down like 14 or something?
They were down. And Trae Young doesn't get it. I mean, like every once in a while, he hits so many big shots that you'll see Trae Young and you'll talk about, you go, that guy's really good. Why don't we talk about him more? And then he disappears for a while and you don't think about the Hawks very much because, well, they're the Atlanta Hawks. But when he steps up and does like what he did last night, when he finished with like 37 points, something like 36, 37 points, you remember that he can do some special things on the basketball court. So that series goes on. Now, the other 2 did end, but the games were a lot closer than you'd expect. The Nuggets just barely held off the Timberwolves 112-109. Jokic with a 28-point triple-double. And then the Suns, that was a really great game. The Clippers, without Kawhi Leonard again, without Paul George, take a 9-point lead at halftime. And then the Suns come out in the third quarter and score 50 points in one quarter.
Wow.
50. Devin Booker outscored the Clippers on his own in the third quarter on his way to 47-10. He was incredible.
God.
And then the Clippers are down 14 or 15, and they rally all the way back. Like they were within 2 and had a layup to tie the game in the last minute and a half of the game. But the Suns eventually held on for a 136-130 win to clinch that series. So Phoenix and Denver will play in the Western Conference semifinals. And then we found out this morning, of all the people who say, Kawhi's got to be out there, he actually has a torn meniscus. And that's why he was out and missed they weren't saying anything at the hopes that, maybe if they won, he might be able to come back at some point. They didn't want to reveal too much. But now that the season is over for the Clippers, he has been officially diagnosed with a torn meniscus in his knee, which is why he did not play in games 3, 4, or 5.
Tough break
of that series.
Yeah, very tough break for him. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, why wouldn't you? Just what doesn't that let him off the hook when if he has a torn meniscus and you know about it with 3 games remaining? Why wouldn't you just say he's got a torn meniscus?
You could. I guess the hope is that if you advance like without him to the next round and he gets enough therapy that maybe he plays on it, but you don't want the opponent to know that he's playing on a torn meniscus.
Yeah,
in the next round.
I guess.
Gamesmanship.
A little bit of gamesmanship.
That's my only thought.
But
why you don't.
So many.
I mean, you can't because you kind of let him.
When you come out,
you let him get dragged.
You hung him out to dry
You
a little
did.
bit.
You hung him out
by
to dry.
Not saying that.
By not saying a word.
People are out there like legitimately speculating.
Legit.
Oh, could it have anything to do with his sister
Saw that,
and all
yeah.
that? Is that wearing on his mental health?
I mean, I think Richard Jefferson.
He's really hurt.
I think Richard Jefferson was like, no ifs, ands, or buts. You make a ton of dough. You're the face of the franchise. You need to be out there, man.
I mean, he did play in game 2 after suffering the injury in game 1, which I think.
Did he make it worse?
Well,
I know
I'm sure
nothing.
He did.
I know nothing
he
about it.
He played an entire basketball game
On a
in the
torn
NBA
meniscus.
playoffs on a torn meniscus. Of
Couldn't have
course, he
helped.
made it worse.
Yeah.
Of course, that made it worse in game 2. So I'm going to give Kawhi a pass. And, for the Clippers, it's really bad luck. I think Ty Lue pointed out after the game that we still haven't lost a playoff series in which Paul George and Kawhi Leonard have both been healthy, which means they've never been healthy all the way through the playoffs.
Never been played. It's never been healthy.
It's never happened for the Clippers, and still has not. So they are out. Their season is over. Now, tonight, we have 4 games in the NBA playoffs.
I may watch the NBA instead of the Padres.
Different situations, though. We got
just enjoy sports. Just enjoy watching.
The road New York Knicks up 3-1 going to Cleveland. Cavs trying to keep their season alive at home. The road Lakers up 3-1 on the Memphis Grizzlies. going to try to close out that series on the road in Game 5. The road 8 seed Miami Heat up 3-1 on the road at the 1 seed Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks needing 3 wins in a row to avoid being a 1 seed knocked out by a play-in tournament team for the first time ever.
First time ever.
And then you've got the Golden State Warriors and Sacramento Kings, who are tied 2-2 going back to Sacramento for Game 5. De'Aaron Fox did say yesterday that he will be out there despite a broken tip of his index finger on his shooting hand suffered in Game 4. I mean, there will be an effect on his play. There's no way you can just completely shake that off and go, yeah, I'll be fine.
And if it's his other hand, no problem.
Just the tip.
Just the tip.
Just the tip.
Just the tip.
So, but they're at home, and they've been really good at home, and the Warriors have not been good on the road all season long. So that's an interesting matchup as well. Now, unlike last night when I said the home team should roll, this one's a little dicier. Like, the road teams have been the teams playing better for the most part, either lately or the entire series. But teams that are at home in the playoffs, pretty desperate. You don't see them lose in that situation that often when you can keep your season going in front of your home fans. Generally, teams have a little bit extra. They don't want it to come to an end on their home floor. Now, then they go and win, and then they go on the road, and they don't have anything left for the next game. You see that sometimes, but I would expect some good games tonight.
Yeah, me and you both. And like I said, I may pick one of those to watch instead. Take a little breather.
Well, you can watch both. I mean, you get the night.
I'm like such a junkie.
We'll watch the Padres.
What time is it? What time the Pod's on?
4:40 again. Same time. Which means it'll be opposite the Lakers Grizzlies game and the Knicks Cavs game, but you can choose from the late game, the Warriors Kings. You can watch the whole thing. Watch Padres and then settle in for a little Warriors Kings action afterwards.
Probably gonna watch Dave, to be honest with you, after the Padres. Yeah.
Michael Wacha is not necessarily coming off his
best
couple of starts.
Does he play video games?
Drew Smiley is coming off a great start. I'd imagine, I don't know, you like to look at the odds. My guess is the Cubs are solid favorites tonight in the game.
Check it out.
Plus 140. Yeah, that was going to be my guess. 135, 140. It's more than that, then you know that they've lost faith in the San Diego Padres.
Cubs are they're minus 105.
I mean, minus, not plus.
Minus 105.
That's it.
That's
so
it.
It's pretty much toss up. That's a pick'em game.
They're still believing very much that this
Padres,
offense at some point will pick it up.
The odds makers still believe in the San Diego Padres. So why don't the fans? If the
makers
odds makers
do,
believe in you, usually it's the odds makers who lose faith in a team before its fan base does.
That's true.
But the odds makers still think
they still believe.
Pretty good.
Okay. All right. That makes me feel just a touch better. A touch better.
All right. We'll talk to Joe Sheehan. He gets into some of these issues in his daily MLB newsletter. Good stuff. We talked to him a couple of months ago. Going to welcome him back to the program. Do that coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
maple syrup. It's
If you were listening to Ben and Woods yesterday, you heard one of our favorite guests, Jesse Rogers, was on with us from ESPN, and I asked him about the A's potential move to Las Vegas, and he he was for it. He thinks it'll work. I mean, no one's for losing the team in Oakland, but in terms of whether or not baseball will be successful in Vegas the way hockey and football have been so far, I was a little more skeptical, though, and we're going to have a guest coming up here next who is also skeptical about whether the Oakland A's will be able to make it work in the desert if they do end up moving to Las Vegas. Talk to
the A's or Major League Baseball?
Baseball at all, not just the A's, but really any team in Major League Baseball. We'll talk to Joe Sheehan coming up after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Tannick.
Got a few problems in the North County Gopher Canyon on-ramp to southbound 15. Collision involving a couple vehicles there over the right shoulder. Also hit and run crash on the westbound 78 to the southbound 5. It's over the right shoulder. And guys, just a reminder that eastbound 78 still closed between El Camino Real and College for that road work. They're hoping to have that wrapped up this week. We'll definitely keep you posted on that. I'm Kelly Danik with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Well, let's go out to our premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Welcome back, the author of the Joe Sheehan newsletter. If you cover baseball, very insightful topics on a daily basis. Joe Sheehan back with us here on 97.3 The Fan. Joe, it's good to talk to you again. How have you been?
Good, fellas. What's going on?
Just the usual. Just getting shut out every 3 days.
Yeah,
it's fine, Joe.
A little
It's no
early
big deal.
panic from Padres fans.
Yeah, a little bit of early panic. Yeah, every 3 days. We come in and do the same show.
Yeah, it's been a tough start for the Pods. Just not really getting to the ball. Bogart's been a really good asset for them, but obviously Juan Soto's inability to get the ball in the air has been early top of the conversation in the season so far.
Yeah, they're not seemingly too concerned. They feel like Juan Soto and Manny Machado are going to figure out and be the players that they have typically been in their careers. But until it happens, you know how fans are. We'll continue to worry about it. You did write something actually more recently, even than the A's Las Vegas, about strength of schedule. And I know the Padres have seemingly had a really tough one. I mean, every team they played other than the Rockies has either been in first or second place. And they certainly, the schedule makers have not done them any favors in the month of April. And while it all evens out at the end of the year, you do have to kind of keep that in mind in these snapshot sample sizes early in the season for the Padres and other teams.
Yeah, strength of schedule is a weird number in that it actually means more at the start of the year than it does at the end of the year. 'Cause by the end of the year, the spread for baseball teams is generally only about 20-25 percentage points between the best and the worst schedules. And that's actually going to be lower this year because we're playing less extreme schedules, more balanced ones. But early on, the Padres have had it very tough. You know, you mentioned they started with the Rockies, and they have not played a bad team since. And that's going to even out. As of this morning, per ESPN, they have the third toughest strength of schedule so far. So if you're playing 500 against a really tough stretch, that actually bodes well for your future. And you look at the Padres here, they got the Cubs, and then from memory, trying to
Giants in Mexico City here.
Yeah, Giants, Reds.
Thank you. It gets a little bit easier here. So there's some a chance to take advantage. Now, obviously, last night in Chicago was not a good start to that stretch, getting worked pretty well by the Justin Steele and the Cubs bullpen. But, yeah, as you say, I don't think there's any reason to expect this lineup with this level of talent in it to continue to underperform. I'd probably be a little more concerned about what we're seeing from the bullpen.
And talking to Joe Sheehan here on Ben and Woods this morning, I know you are probably you hate a small sample size. That's one thing I've realized reading your newsletter. The new rules in baseball have been interesting. You've been tweeting about those. What are your very early takes on the new rules in baseball?
Yeah, obviously when you tell teams they can't control the running game as easily, guys are going to run more. When you tell teams they can't play where the ball's going to go, there are going to be more hits. So I think baseball, from a very just cause and effect standpoint, is getting what it wants. A lot of the focus has been on the pitch clock, which has certainly shortened games. I think I still want to see the effects. I want to know what this looks like in the summertime. I want to know what this looks like over 6 months. There's been some talk about increased injuries, but it's way too early to necessarily connect that to a pitch clock. But to me, that's going to be how it lives or dies. By the end of the year, if we've seen a large increase in pitcher injuries, I think they will have to roll this back. So small sample size, yeah. I mean, everything in April is a small sample size. But yep. I think specifically with the pitch clock, we're going to need to see more baseball.
So, Joe, a lot of people in baseball have lamented what's happening with the Oakland A's and people saying that they've been done wrong by Major League Baseball and their own owner but not as many have said that Las Vegas is a bad idea, either for an expansion team or, a relocated team in Major League Baseball because of the success of the Golden Knights and the Raiders in a couple of seasons drawing pretty well. Seems like Las Vegas has been a pretty good sports town, but you put a pretty compelling argument down in the newsletter as to why you don't think Major League Baseball will be nearly as successful in Las Vegas if the A's do make that move. Can you explain that for us?
Yeah, I think football is its own thing. The Raiders, there are things about the Raiders in the NFL. You could play the NFL season in 32 TV studios. It really wouldn't matter. They only need to usually sell about 700,000 tickets a year. So
you can put a team in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and it'd probably do pretty well, I would think.
Right, because all the revenues come in nationally. It doesn't actually matter where the teams are. And of course, with the Raiders have a following in California where people will just come in for Saturday, Sunday and watch the game. They only need to do that 8 times. So maybe you do it 6 times and you sell the other tickets. I don't think the NFL and the Raiders experience is necessarily helpful here. The Knights is the comp I hear a lot. The Golden Knights, excuse me. I got some grief about calling them the Knights. Where it's a longer schedule. It's a team that it's a sport that does rely on attendance and local revenues. But I look at the Golden Knights are a very unusual expansion franchise. They went to the Stanley Cup Finals in their first year, which enabled them to get a foothold in Las Vegas. They were also the first team to get there. So you have a city that's been yearning for professional sports that gets its first team and goes to the championship round in its first year. You're not going to be able to replicate that. The A's get none of that. The A's are the third team in. There's somebody else's leftovers. It'll be 2027. Who knows how good the A's will be then? But I'll just put a bet on they won't go to the World Series that year. There's just all of these things that you're not going to be able to replicate with the Knights. And even the Knights' level of success wouldn't necessarily make a baseball team a success. They draw 18,000 a night, which maxes out the T-Mobile Arena. So let's say that there's some uncaptured, there's some excess demand locally. Maybe you get 22,000 a night into the baseball, to the ballpark. Okay, great. Now you're drawing 1.8 million. That's not very good for a baseball team. You've got no secondary market. I mean, you guys know in San Diego, there's no secondary market, right? 2 teams to the north, a desert to the west, a desert to the east, an ocean to the west, and Mexico to the south. So Las Vegas just is surrounded by desert. There's no secondary market. You've got to basically make it work with the people who are in the Las Vegas area. And then finally, so that means you don't get the TV revenue. And baseball, of course, is all about local TV money. There are just all of these problems with Las Vegas. It's small. It has no secondary markets. The team probably isn't going to be very good. So yeah, the first year, maybe they draw 2.3, 2.4 million. I'm not concerned about 2027. I think by 2037, you're just going to have another small market team. Vegas is basically hot Milwaukee.
It's Joe Sheehan joining us here. Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot back and forth, devastated A's fans. Obviously, we went through it here in San Diego with the Chargers leaving. The other thing that I'm seeing, the people that I have seen in Las Vegas are excited about it. They certainly are. It's been just a small minority I've seen on Twitter, Joe. But there's no promise that this owner and this ownership group, it's not like they're going to walk into Vegas in a couple of years and say, all right, now we're going to go get the biggest and the best free agents. He's never spent on free agents. Are we to expect, if you're an A's fan, you know what, I'll follow you to Vegas. Do you expect that he's going to be like, now I'm ready to lay out some cash and go out and get the biggest and the best and pay the guys that we do have? I don't see it.
The parallel for me is the Marlins under Jeffrey Loria when they finally got whatever they call that park now built back in 2012. Loria went out the winter prior after, as the park was being constructed, and he signed Mark Burley, he signed Jose Reyes, he signed Carlos Delgado. Big, we're spending money now. And by the end of the following season, none of those guys were still in Miami. He traded them all away. So there might be a PR push to, they'll sign some guys, but I don't necessarily think it'll be sustained. I think if anything, I don't think John Fisher is going to own this team in 2030, one way or the other. I think it's most likely that he'll get the ballpark, get the team to Vegas, and then look to sell at the top of their value. So the questions about what the A's will do in 2027 will be irrelevant by 2032 when they're owned by somebody else.
Talking to Joe Sheehan. Now, Joe, has in some ways Peter Seidler laid waste to the market size agreement in baseball. You explained San Diego to a T in terms of TV market size. It will always be limited. They will never be New York, Los Angeles, the Bay Area, Dallas, anything like that in terms of local TV revenues. However, Peter Seidler says, I don't really care. I think we can make this work. And he's been pretty upfront saying this is not a short-term strategy. Yeah, and then I'm going to, scale back the payroll in a couple of years. He said, I'm going to pass this down to my family, and I expect us to keep putting this kind of team on the field for the next 50 to 75 years.
Right, because that's the way it's supposed to work now. It's not the middle of the 20th century where baseball teams kind of had to eat what they killed, and guys who own baseball teams were rich but not wealthy, to use the distinction. All of the individuals and entities that own baseball teams now are wildly rich. If you're rich enough to own the team, you're rich. If you're rich enough to buy the team, you're rich enough to pay the players. And Seidler gets that. John Middleton has started to get that. A lot of them. Steve Cohen gets that. This is we talk about, they have to make a profit. No, they don't. They bought the baseball team with all the money they made getting rich and all the other things that they did, whatever, billboards for Artie Moreno. And I don't know what Peter Seidler did. This is the argument, right? You'll get people say, well, it's a business and has to make money. Fundamentally, it doesn't. It has to break even. And then you realize your gains when you sell the team down the road.
Yep.
Seidler gets it. He doesn't need the Padres to make money. He actually can even live with them losing some money. That's the other thing about it. Like if the baseball team posts a paper loss of $10 million or $20 million, that's a drop in the bucket for these guys when you look at the larger equation. So this idea that baseball teams have to be run like a grocery store is the argument that always loses me. No, it doesn't. It's a baseball team. It's the crown jewel. Why buy a baseball team if you're just looking to squeeze out 3% a year?
Yeah.
Go buy T-bills. If you buy a baseball team, you do it because you want to win a championship. And this is the disconnect now. And this is why I look ahead to 27 and the next CBA and the big fight, where you've got owners who are saying, I don't care about squeezing out the 3%. I want a championship. And you've got 5 to 10 owners over here that are saying, no, I don't really care. I just want to make a couple bucks. That's the central conflict.
Attention shoppers, we have a special on middle relievers in aisle 6. Attention shoppers. Joe, good stuff.
Great
as
stuff,
always.
man.
Again, if you want to get more of this out there, you can subscribe to the Joe Sheehan newsletter. Just search Joe Sheehan. You can get right there for daily content on Major League Baseball. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, fellas. Take care.
Joe appearing on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet. Find new roads. I mean, you could put a baseball team wherever you wanted.
Sure.
Las Vegas. I like hot Milwaukee. I like
Hot
that
Milwaukee is good. I mean,
Vegas.
we've got a tier 1 that lives in Vegas, and he got a little upset at Eno when we had Eno on last week, and Eno was talking about it, and it's probably going to be a little upset at Joe. There are going to be people in Vegas that are elated, stoked, will buy season tickets day one, and that's okay. Then I saw some people yesterday going, no, no public funding for this guy to come into Las Vegas. I mean, you're going to see all types. You're going to see
That's why he wants to go there. He wants a bunch of hundreds of millions of cash from the government to build a stadium that they won't build him in Oakland. And then he can cash in on that later.
I mean, I don't know the ins and outs. I do know that market has lost 3 teams in the last few years. And that's a tough look for them. I do feel that every situation is different. I know Mark Davis, I read a little piece. Mark Davis he tried and tried and tried and tried and tried. The man that stood in his way was the Oakland A's owner. So he's actually responsible for a couple of teams.
Well, and now, and Joe writes about this as well, the Oakland A's owner, they could build another stadium right there where the Coliseum is.
Yes.
There's plenty of land. But he wants a downtown development. He wants what the Padres built, some land for condos and, retail and shopping that, you can make big money outside of your baseball portfolio when you go downtown. And that's obviously in California, a much more difficult proposition. The Chargers could have built another stadium. You know where they could have built one? Mission Valley, where the Aztecs did it.
Right.
A couple of years later, the Chargers kept saying, no, it's impossible. We could never make this work in Mission Valley. We have to get a downtown site. They didn't have to. They wanted to do it because they knew they could make all the money on the other developments right around the stadium, the parking garages, and the shops and the restaurants and the condos and the high rises. That's where they wanted to make all the money. But if they just cared about their football team, they would have done what the Aztecs did. It wasn't that hard. The Aztecs proved it. I mean, San Diego State pulling off a stadium in 2.5 years after the Chargers said it was absolutely impossible. I mean, it just goes to show that there's a lot of disingenuity when it comes to these owners, what they can and can't do when it comes to a stadium.
It's gnarly. I mean, you had your commissioner of baseball. Again, who does he work for? He's a mouthpiece for the owners. That's no different in any sport, really. Rob Manfred said this the other day. I feel sorry for the fans in Oakland. I really do. But for the city of Oakland to point fingers at John Fisher, it's not fair. We've shown an unbelievable commitment to the fans in Oakland by exhausting every possible opportunity to try to get something done in Oakland. Unfortunately, the government doesn't seem to have the will to get it done. It's a poor product that you're offering your fans. You're doing exactly the plot of the movie Major League. You're trying to put together a team to lose. That's exactly what you're doing. And it's working. It's working. In typical baseball fashion, though, the other things that I've read have said there's no guarantees in Las Vegas. This isn't a done deal. This is no dotted line. This could go horribly, horribly wrong in the next year, 2 years. They're in it right now. And with everyone coming out making public statements about it's the government. And now you have the government in Oakland saying, no, we'll do it. We offer to do it here, and here. You guys chose not to. It's very similar. It's eerily similar. I am glad we don't work Bay Area sports radio. We'd have to be covering stadium talk every day. There was nothing worse than that in this town. Nothing.
Times 3.
Nothing. There was nothing worse than stadium talk. Nothing.
You have to do it for the Raiders.
Yeah.
We would have done it for the Warriors.
The Warriors. Oh, my God.
Now we'd be doing
Getting
it again.
into the ins and outs of financials and renderings.
It's
and
city council members
It's
on
weird,
the
though,
show.
because every television and radio station up there, it's all the same market. So you're talking Golden State Warriors. You're talking San Francisco Giants. You're talking 49ers. You're talking San Jose Sharks. You're talking Oakland A's. And it's all, I mean, it's Stanford, Cal, whatever is the flavor of the minute, you can kind of pivot and discuss something different depending on what time of year. There's always something
there's
going
something.
on
Absolutely.
in the sports area because it's just such a large area to draw from.
But you have 3 teams that have gone now. If the A's do end up going, you'll have 3 teams in the last how long? 8 years, 6 years that have
2 to Vegas.
2 to Vegas. It's tough. It's really, really tough. And we now know where the commissioner's bread is buttered. We always have. He's going to push for this move. He's going to push for this move. It's more money in his pocket. Casino money. It's hard to say no to.
Yeah, they've been much more free with the public money in Nevada, than they are in California.
But I am seeing people in Nevada saying, no, you're not taxing us for $500 million. I've seen that on Twitter. Like, not going to happen, man. So it's this huge deal.
Why would you? As much as I am a sports fan and wanted the Chargers to stay, I could never in good conscience make the argument.
No, I pay enough.
Taxpayers need to pay more to keep the Chargers here. That it never made sense to me.
It's expensive. So pay it off.
All right, we'll come back. We got one more hour to go. Paulie's going to give us some headlines in the Reindl Report, and we'll go right until 10 o'clock here with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Final hour of Ben and Woods. Now, did you see this part about the Las Vegas A's situation that Rob Manfred said this week? That it's possible because the A's lease with their stadium expires after next season, and it'll take at least a couple more years after that to build a stadium in Las Vegas, that they could just share the AAA park where the Las Vegas, what's their
Ace? No.
They were the 51s for a while, weren't they? But now they're
they were the 51s. I don't know what they are.
So they could just share the park all season. Like you could have a AAA Series 1 week, and then the next week, and then you'd have a Major League Series the next week, and then back to the AAA, and they'd just essentially be baseball every day, whether it's AAA or Major League Baseball in the same park for at least 2 years, which would be weird.
Nice park.
Yeah, it's a nice AAA park.
Nice AAA park.
But it's not covered.
No, it's not.
It doesn't have a retractable roof or anything.
It is not.
I mean, I've been to Vegas in August.
I've played baseball tournaments
115 degrees.
It's terrible.
I don't know how Major League Baseball players are going to feel about that road trip to a non-covered stadium in August and
for
playing
two seasons
in 115 degree heat. If they really think that that's gonna fly, I don't know if that's true. Let's see. We've got the NFL draft for you tomorrow here on 97.3 The Fan, live and local coverage. Even though we don't have a team, it's fun to talk about. Round 1 tomorrow, and you've got the coach John Quintera, Chris Ello, and Braden Soprena going to anchor it all for you starting at 5 o'clock. So you can listen on 97.3 The Fan or the Odyssey app and follow 97.3 The Fan to get our listen on the go coverage. It's
so
still
they're going
a
to
big
be
story.
On during the draft, reacting to the
draft. They're going to be on during the draft, reacting to the draft, bringing you the picks live as they happen, and just discussing it from a non-invested city's perspective. Yeah. Because I mean,
a lot of people invested.
If you're in Philly, you talk about the draft, but you're all in on who are the Eagles going to pick, and it's just that's the one way you look at it. We'll have a little more of a neutral view at the NFL draft.
The entire draft up until your pick is all right. Who's available? What are we going to do?
Right.
And then after your team makes the pick, then
you break it down.
An hour of breaking it down until their next pick.
Yep. You look for that little trade is in thing. I wonder if my team's moving up or something. It's different when you don't have a team in the NFL
Who's
draft.
the AJ Preller of the NFL? Like that would just drive you insane as a fan on draft day.
I mean,
I think you see movement.
Jerry Jones would be the one that, to me,
drive you crazy.
I was driving in this morning, listening to DA talking about Jerry Jones and how he is coveting Bijan, what's his name?
Robinson, Texas running back.
Yeah, coveting. And anytime Jerry Jones covets somebody, it's usually the wrong move. And DA was laughing like, man, he's already talking. And the running back in the first round,
he's like head and shoulders supposedly better than anybody else according to the draft experts, but he's a running back. And it's the position that's been devalued the most in the NFL.
Those days are gone
in recent years.
Yeah, they talked about a couple of like Travis Etienne late first round. Who's the guy from Kansas City?
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah.
All the hyphenated running backs.
Those guys late first round. So if somebody's there, that's a decent time to take him, but you're not going to see a running back in the top 10, top 15.
But I've seen Bijan as high as like number 2 on best available, like best overall board. Yep. So, no guarantee he falls, late into the first round, but you want to move up to take a running back?
That's the Jerry Jones. And DA was like, oh, it's coming. It's coming. If he's got his eyes on that. I mean, he wanted to sell the farm for Manziel. He was like, it's going to happen. And his son had to grab him by the ear and drag him back and say, we're taking Zach Martin.
Spanking himself.
Yeah, spanking himself, the glory hole. And he said,
glory hole.
We have to take Zach Martin. We cannot take Johnny Manziel. He's going to wash out in this league. We cannot do it. And plus the Padres already drafted him. So maybe he has a future in baseball.
And of course, I will give you
No.
I will give you a less serious look.
At this point, whatever works. I'm open to anything.
Now batting Johnny Manziel. Oh my God. We have really fallen off a cliff.
I will give you our less serious look at the draft in our Ben Mocks the Draft.
Oh, it's so fun.
Tomorrow morning at 7:30. Woods just assigned it earlier this morning.
We still like to have fun, even mired in, a rough go. Fun will still be had on this program.
Yep. And usually the Randall Report's pretty fun. Let's see if Paulie can live up to that promise today. and get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right. Gentlemen, we'll start off in baseball, adding on to a story that we talked about yesterday. Did you notice one Chicago Cub that was not there yesterday at Wrigley Field? It was, it was Cody Bellinger.
Oh, yeah. Cody Bellinger. We missed him this series.
Missed him.
Luckily, I mean,
he's like hitting like 300.
Playing well. He's got a few
20 or
bombs.
something.
And
He's playing well.
Found his stroke.
He wasn't there yesterday because he was also placed on the paternity list. Now, where did Cody Bellinger?
Cody Bellinger was
play?
a Dodger.
He was a
right?
Dodger last year.
Yep.
So that would make him the
Fourth, I think. Yeah.
Fourth
Dodger,
or former
2022 Dodger.
to go on the paternity list like in the last week or two. So we talked about it yesterday. Everybody kind of did the math.
Crazy.
It was like the All-Star break.
They just
was 9 months, 9 months back.
Okay, Cody Bellinger was not an all-star. Mookie Betts was an all-star. Evan Phillips was not an all-star. And who's the other one? There was one more.
Max Muncy.
Max Muncy. Was he an all-star?
I don't
think he was
so.
last
I don't
year,
think he was. So,
but
it was in LA.
Even if you go to the All-Star game, you still have the next couple of days off when you get back.
And it's in LA, so they didn't have to go anywhere. They were home, feeling relaxed.
Did someone slip something into their the water jug and the
fertility?
Like an aphrodisiac?
Spanish fly.
What is that anyway?
Viagra?
Does anyone have any idea what that is?
No, but it's like it
doesn't sound sexy.
Here's the thing.
I'll say that. I've heard that phrase before, and it's like, do I eat a fly?
I remember being a kid and looking through like Rolling Stone or Cream magazine, and like, oh, there's an ad for Spanish fly, and it was like somebody can find it, please. If my memory serves, it was like a guy. It was a cartoon of a guy like pouring something in a girl's drink, which is that's not what you want to promote at all. Like at all hey, give her a little of this, and you may get lucky. Yeah, dude. They used to sell it in the back of Rolling Stone. It's crazy. Never bought any, but yeah, it was. It's certainly a weird phenomenon, but it does make sense. All in LA,
a team competition. Like,
yeah, let's do this now. But it was like, hey, man, I got a few days off while I'm home. You're home. Don't have the grind of worrying about going to the ballpark. Let's.
It's one of those things where like. There's probably most likely 99% of the time nothing to this story.
Right.
Just
weird
very weird phenomenon.
Feels real good.
Yeah.
It's real good.
All right. Speaking of the NFL draft, while the rest of the world tomorrow, the rest of the country at least, will be.
Oh, sorry. The chat says Brusdar Gratterall also went on.
Is that
So that's 5?
That'd be 5 then, yeah.
Holy cow.
That's insane. As I was saying, while the country will be focused on the NFL draft tomorrow, locally here in San Diego, we'll be focused on the Ben's mock draft.
Yeah.
But saw we've talked about it in the past, Reddit for all of its bad stuff, and there's a lot of bad on Reddit.
Tough scene.
If you ever want to go down a rabbit hole, Reddit is your spot.
It's the spot. Yeah.
And I went down a rabbit hole yesterday. I saw there was a post in the sportsbook subreddit. The post says Will Levis is currently plus 4,000 to be the first overall pick.
That is astronomical odds, right?
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen,
40 to 1.
40 to 1. Big odds.
Pretty big odds. Not in the conversation.
Right.
And it says, well, ladies and gentlemen, he's telling friends and family.
Oh, boy.
Carolina will, in fact, take him on Thursday. You're welcome. Carolina has the number 1 pick in the draft tomorrow. And people are like, oh, okay, what's your source here? And he said, Will Levis.
Will himself.
And the only thing I knew about Will Levis, I actually didn't know anything. I had to Google him. He was the quarterback at Kentucky.
Be honest. Did you have to Google the pronunciation of his name?
I still haven't. For all I know, it's Levis.
Or Levi's.
Levi's.
It's Levis. It is Levis.
I'm guessing that it's Levis. So I checked this morning. Like, as of just a few days ago, before this post caught fire, he was like plus 4,000, plus 5,000, plus 6,000 odds to be the first overall pick in the draft tomorrow. If you go right now, and I will refresh. I'm looking at the FanDuel Sportsbook, NFL futures odds. He's plus 600.
Holy smokes! So they're buying.
Everybody's buying this random tip on
So
Reddit.
I did
and the
mention
money
it
has
earlier.
moved.
Frank Reich did say
Bryce Young is the favorite at minus.
they've
1,000.
made their decision. The Carolina Panthers are selecting a quarterback, and it's been fairly widely reported it's going to be one of 4 guys: Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson from Florida, or Will Levis from Kentucky. So he's in the mix. I mean, we thought he'd be the long
All
shot
4
of
of
the mix.
them are the top 4
But,
odds.
those are the guys that it was thought that Carolina is deciding between, and they have made their decision. Now, that doesn't mean they told Will Levis
that it's
in fact,
you.
I think it's kind of unlikely, even if they've made their decision, that they would tell the guy
Yeah.
who they're going to be picking, because that doesn't do them any favors, because you could change your mind, you get a trade offer. The last thing you want is, to create some sort of controversy that you didn't have to by telling a guy, oh, we're definitely drafting you, and then not doing it. That's a bad look. So I'm skeptical of this story that Will Levis is sure he's going to be the number 1 pick in the draft.
Well, he has the second highest odds, and it's not really close.
Wild.
Bryce Young minus 1,000, runaway favorite. Will Levis plus 600 at second place there. Then C.J. Stroud is plus 2,500, and Anthony Richardson is plus 7,500. So it's Bryce Young, Will Levis, and then a huge drop
Big
off.
drop off. Can't wait. I do. I get excited about the first round of the draft. I do every single year because it's fun. It's fun to watch. If you watch it almost like a bit, it's a really good bit.
Not having a team here,
Yeah.
I will watch like the first 2 or 3 picks maybe.
I watched the first round just to see what if one of my guys gets taken, and there will be one tomorrow. So I'm excited to see where he goes.
No, Padres have the early game tomorrow, so
Yep.
you'll have your
Freed
evening
up
free.
for the draft. Not going to get the pass at home to like. All right, I'm going to lock myself in my room for the NFL draft, babe. Good luck bathing the kids. I'm not going to get that sort of pass, but it will be on for sure.
Finally here, had a video that went viral on TikTok, and it's an interview with hedge fund billionaire Bill Ackman. He does television hits and hedge fund, all that stuff. Stuff that is way above where my head is.
Let's just say it. Our head. It's fine.
Our heads. Well, I'm bringing this up because maybe you guys can shed some light. He has a proposition out there that if you gave every baby that was born in America $7,000 at birth, like the government, $7,000 when they're born, they don't touch it. It goes into a savings account, tax free, all that. It'd be worth over $1 million by the time that child hits retirement. And he talks about how it's like a $20 billion investment every year, which, let's be honest, we just print money here. Like, why not? Here's the clip. I'm curious if you guys think this is a good idea, if this could work.
My idea was you give every baby that's born in America a $7,000 account when they're born. They can't remove money from that account, and it's tax exempt, and it compounds, and it gets invested in like an index fund. By the time you're 65, it's $1 million. By the way, that would cost $20 billion a year to do that. Just take the number of babies times whatever, $7,000 or $8,000. It's like a nothing thing. It would start to give everyone in this country a piece of the success of the country. So I think we need these sort of savings accounts, and we can't wait until people start creating an IRA or 401k by the time they're 25 or 30 or 35. You want to start when they're a baby, just because the laws of compounding. That extra 25 years is very, very material.
I mean, you look at how much money this country spends on so many other things.
Sure.
$20 billion a year.
Invest
that
in
would
the
invest in
future.
the future.
I don't know. I know.
All right. Well, I'm sure, nearly as financially
It's one of those things where I saw it and I
savvy
go,
as this
sounds
guy.
good to me.
Yeah, why
But
not?
I'll tell you one thing. When I was growing up, $1 million was an insane amount of money.
It's just like it was unfathomable.
I mean, it was so much money.
$100,000.
Yeah.
It's like if I can make $100,000,
That's like a magic number.
I am set for life.
Nowadays, $1 million buys you a very modest residence
It's here.
in San Diego,
Sure.
California.
It's better than a sharp stick in the
No,
eye.
it's
though.
not. Yeah, I'm not turning down. I'm just wondering that the baby born then today, retirement age,
65 years.
65.
It'd be
for
like
7
$40,000
years from now. Is that $1 million that we invested at the 7,000 now really going to be that helpful? Is that going to be?
I think that guy smoked
gonna
marijuana cigarettes. and
allow him
was
to
like,
go to Golden Corral a couple of extra times in retirement?
I
or
think
what-
that guy took an edible and was like, I have the best idea ever. And they're like, oh, you're free to share it on my podcast. And he's like, what if we gave every baby $7,000? I don't know. Like I said, better than a sharp stick in the eye.
It's always good to save, though. You want to, try to put away
Sure.
as much as you can so you have some more for the
Oh,
future.
Nobody better than me.
Hard to do. Easier said than done,
Way
especially
easier.
in Southern California. No doubt about that.
Uh-huh. Thank you, Paulie.
You are welcome.
Good job on the Rhino report.
Very excited for Ben's mock draft.
Oh, I mean, I cannot.
7:35.
7:35. Yeah,
Tomorrow, done.
that knocks the draft.
I always
Amazing.
worry that it goes fairly. We only do 10 picks. I don't do the whole first round.
If you're new to the show, it's not Ben's mock draft. It's
No.
Ben
Mocks
mocks,
the
the draft.
Yeah, he mocks the draft. Found the Spanish Fly ad.
You did.
I tweeted it.
Do we still know what what is in Spanish Fly?
Listen to this. Full supply, only $4.95. Spanish Fly. She'll do things she's never done before. Increases sexual desire. You're the boss. Call the blows. Turns on anyone. Fast. Sneaks up on you. And then there's a cartoon of a nude woman.
All right. This is surprising me. It is an actual insect. I thought it was a
What?
euphemism.
No, it's not.
The Spanish fly is a green beetle in the blister beetle family.
Yeah, but that's not. They don't send you a beetle. It's some.
Well, I'm
liquid.
sure they grind
No,
it
it's
up
like a
into
liquid.
powder
It's
or
like-
something, but
It's some liquid. They just call it Spanish.
it's made out of a It's made out of a bug.
No, it's not.
Maybe I don't know.
All right, we're gonna look into this. We'll get back to you after the break.
All right,
That's your Spanish Fly
That's your
station.
tease right there. We'll come back after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Spanish fly is an insect.
It is an insect.
It's a blister beetle. It makes your skin blister if it touches your skin, which is why people recommend you should not ingest it or use it at all. Despite what the back of Rolling Stone magazine may have suggested in the late 70s.
Okay, it is a bug.
It is made out of a bug. Yes, not a fly. It's more of a beetle, but
so they
toxic beetle.
Spanish fly drink. Did you look at that?
I looked at the aphrodisiac Spanish fly.
Natural aphrodisiac or empty promise.
Yeah, it's really almost all scientists say that it does nothing. Not good for you. Don't do it.
What's wrong with you over there? Are you stiff?
Yeah, I just get a bit of a tight upper back neck sort of thing.
Stress from watching this offense?
I don't know. I think it's working with you mostly. It
Me?
happened during
What
the
did
show
I do?
yesterday.
What did I do?
You can be stressful sometimes.
How am I stressful?
I've always been somewhat of a tight person. I don't love stretching. I don't put the time in who does put the time in to stretching?
I have been telling you for 5 years to roll your body.
Yeah, on one of those
rollers.
Foam rollers.
Yes, or take this
Trainer
lacrosse
said
ball.
the same thing yesterday.
Who did?
My trainer. She said,
your trainer
you really
did.
need to lay on one of those rollers. It hurts. It's not. I mean, why would something that's good for you
It works
hurt
though
so much? I don't get this. I really don't understand. Why were we made this way? Why do the foods that taste good are bad for us, and the ones that are good for you
taste like butt?
Yeah, I mean, who messed this whole thing up?
I told you to take this lacrosse ball and lay on it, and in the most painful area, you have to grind it down a little bit. I mean, you're over there in pain and agony, and he's stretching all morning, and yeah, you know why your trainer told you
it doesn't feel good, and at the same time, it feels so good.
It you know that John Mellencamp song, "Hurts So Good." Come on, baby, make it hurt so good. He's talking about a foam roller. Is what he's singing to.
I get that, but I've just never been into pain. I try to avoid it. I really do. In all circumstances, as often as I can.
I mean, then you're gonna feel like ass.
I'm not tough. Have you never noticed? This is something that is very true. I am not tough. There's a reason I like golf as my sport. You know what doesn't happen in golf very often?
You get hurt.
You don't get hit by a pitch. You don't get tackled by anyone.
Yeah, nobody tackles you.
You rarely pull a hamstring trying to jump or run anywhere.
You tweak your back though, and your neck.
I have. I've had some back tweaks.
It's
and
good.
Stuff
The
over
older
years.
you get, the worse it's going to get. So you have to get on a roller or get one of those guns or take this lacrosse ball, sit on it, roll your back, your butt. I tell you to do this every day, and you don't listen. And then your trainer says to do it. She's telling you to do it for a reason. It's not because she doesn't like you. It's because she likes you and she wants you to feel better.
I understand. I do.
Oh, come on.
All right, here we go.
Where is it?
It's kind of right in the middle, upper, right, a little lower than that, right there. Ow. Oh.
It's nice though, huh?
It's not. I mean, why is there's not a nice pain?
It works though. You have to do it. Take care of yourself.
All right. Therapy session, physical therapy, PT, a little PT.
PT
Ben
Rindle.
Woods here. 97.3 The Fan. So don't take Spanish fly.
No, do not take Spanish fly.
order it,
That's
Don't
the
take it.
lesson of the day.
Is not something you should be doing. here.
If it would make the Padres hit, I would take Spanish fly.
Baseball players would do just about anything to hit.
If you guaranteed they would hit, they would be sucking down Spanish fly in the locker room today. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Drew Smiley on the bump today, Benjamin.
It's hard to now if I told you that the Padres had a season low, 2 balls hit above 100 miles an hour yesterday, you'd go, yeah, looked like it.
Correct.
If I told you that 2 games ago they had a season high, 11 games hit above 100 miles an hour. So are they hot or are they cold? What are they? What are the Padres right now offensively? Are they
inconsistent?
Are they? So
that's what they are. They're inconsistent.
I guess we want that. We would love them to be inconsistent with yesterday's performance today. The last thing you want is
Yes.
to be consistently bad.
That's exactly
inconsistent is
hitting-
better than consistently bad.
Right. Consistently good is what you strive for. You strive to maybe hit an average of what's 11 and 2, 13. That's 6.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. 6.5 barreled balls a game with that team. You feel like, okay, we'll be all right. Can't have, it's great when you have 11, terrible when you have 2 or 0. Consistency of 5 to 6 a game would be really
But I
nice.
don't think you could argue that the Padres have been consistently bad.
No,
this season.
you cannot. You absolutely
They
cannot.
certainly haven't been
They're
consistently
literally
good.
average. They're a little bit below average team right now based on their win-loss record. That's it. They're a little bit below average. We were not expecting that. And nobody was expecting a little bit. Craig Elston, I think, has been waving the
All right,
flag.
let me-
Somebody, he said they'd be 500. Congratulations. That's the only one I thought.
Joe Sheehan told us earlier that it's shouldn't be a cause for concern that the Padres are playing 500 baseball. They've had the third hardest schedule in Major League Baseball. You play 500 over the hardest stretches.
Right.
Let's say you've got 2 months with really tough stretches of schedule. You play both of those at 500, and then the other 4 months you play 8 games above 500 against the easier teams. Well, by the end of the season,
You're in
are
good shape.
32 games above 500. You've
Yep,
won
you're in-
98 games.
you're in good shape.
You're a playoff team with no problem whatsoever just by playing 500 against the tougher parts of your schedule.
I know it feels like they'll never hit again but we did just see them take 3 of 4 from Arizona, who's a first place team. Somebody tweeted that at me earlier. Do we forget? No, I didn't forget at all. I'm just talking about last night's game where, they were shut out again for the 5th time in 15 days. That's unacceptable. They have to be better. They know that it just cannot continue to happen. The wild mood swings from this baseball team are it's tough. It's a tough watch.
I think we all know how the Padres could get better pretty quickly, right? I mean,
Yeah,
Juan
Manny,
Soto gets
yeah.
going, Manny Machado gets going. Let's talk when we come back on our final segment, and maybe we even open some phone lines. I don't know, 833-288-0973. How could it get worse than what they're doing right now?
Yeah.
Honestly, come up with other than, everyone gets hurt.
Right. Take injuries out of the equation.
I mean, what really could go worse for the Padres right now?
And what's your scenario? Don't we all still feel like this team's going to make the playoffs? I do. I still do.
We'll talk about that coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. All right, a couple of simple questions here to wrap up our show.
We're over it.
Do you still think the Padres are going to make the playoffs?
Yes.
And how could things get worse than the start that they're on right now at 12 and 13?
I don't like this game.
I don't really either. I mean, a safe could fall out of the sky and land on one of their heads or something. That would be terrible.
Xander Bogaerts could ask Ha-Seong Kim for hitting advice.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, Xander Bogaerts getting cold and joining the rest of the team would be one of the very few ways this could get worse.
I do feel like at some point there will be. Will they all four? That's my number one burning question.
Other than Xander Bogaerts, name a Padre that you think is really playing even up to their potential. Maybe Josh Hader is off to a good start.
Stephen Wilson had a rough night
until
last
yesterday.
night.
Yeah,
and
of course we gassed him up, and
we gassed him up, and he was terrible.
I mean, in the lineup.
I'm like,
are you
kidding me?
My quote to Jesse Adams, man, he's really turned into a dude. And then 40 pitches later, I'm like,
Matt Carpenter's had a couple of good moments. Padres have been
nobody's playing up to their potential.
Trent Grisham has shown some things and been a little bit better than last year.
Cruz is giving you more than $1 million worth.
Yeah, but I mean, he's 0 for his last.
He's struggling.
20,
but
over the
most part, lineup wise, there's almost nowhere you can go but up. You're already last in the league in offense, so you can only go up from there in terms of average, and you almost certainly will at some point. Pitching wise. Pitching hasn't been terrible. They've gotten some nice starts. Weathers has been a real nice surprise to start this season, but you've barely seen Joe Musgrove at all. Blake Snell, they haven't won a game that he's pitched. That's going to change at some point this season. Yu Darvish has been pretty good, although his first couple of starts took a little
I think Yu
bit
Darvish,
to get going.
Joe Musgrove, Juan Soto, and Manny Machado are going to be feeling an enormous amount of pressure on their shoulders because if they don't perform, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
That's why they make why they make the big bucks.
The Padres just have this
100%,
this vast, this vast area where they can only really get better, mostly, and a very tiny area of places where they could actually do worse than they've done so far this season.
Yeah, I mean the only way to go is up. You can't. To watch them scuffle is hard. It's hard as a fan. It's hard as a guy that. Who loves those players that are scuffling right now. I just love them. I adore them. I think they're great. I am not a journalist. I am a fan. I'm a fan of the team and I'm a fan of the players. So I'm not objective. I'm not. Okay, I'm not going to be objective. I'm going to pull.
Numbers are objective. They don't tell the whole story. And
numbers are numbers.
Point in the season, they're numbers though, right? And Fangraphs is a site that deals simply with numbers. They take past numbers. They put them into projections of how a team's going to perform. They update them on a daily basis.
Yep.
Right now, 2023 NL West playoff odds. Colorado Rockies started the season at 0.0%. They remain at 0.0%. Second, Arizona Diamondbacks started the season at 15%. They're now up to 20.2%.
Okay.
Third, San Francisco Giants started the season at 40%. They are still at about 40%. Fourth, the LA Dodgers started the season at 71%. They are at 72% right now. And finally, the San Diego Padres started the season at 85% to make the playoffs. They're still the number one most likely team in the NL West to make the playoffs at 75%. They have gone down more than anybody else, but remain ahead of any other team. 3 out of 4, according to Fangraphs, this team should still be a postseason team.
I hate to bring this up, and we brought it up last year, and we didn't want to bring it up last year. The 21 collapse was horrible, and we were seeing slight shades of it. This isn't that, though. This isn't that. The shutouts are concerning. There's no question that the shutouts are concerning. At that time, I don't feel like you were getting pitching. You weren't getting defense. You weren't getting hitting. You was like the worst. They were.
You
just
had
the
one
worst.
and a half healthy starting pitchers.
Yeah,
that's 2021.
That's exactly. You were grabbing Ross Detweiler and Vince Velasquez and Jake Arrieta.
Right now, you've got 7 to 9 healthy starting pitchers
with guys coming. Still ready to go. Jay Groom is still down there. Firing pills and wherever he is. So yeah, man, you're in much better shape. It's not like guys are hurt. They're just not performing. They're not executing. I've said it before. If I knew what was the problem, I would be a billionaire. I don't know. I don't know how to fix Manny right now. I don't know how to fix Juan. Who we'll have on tomorrow, Sarah's had a really nice, he does the deep dives, and he had that that kind of thing. He sent out as a picture of the box and where they're pitching Juan Soto down. Everything's down. He can't get to the low pitch. So what do you do when somebody has a weakness?
All right.
You exploit it.
You just asked an interesting question. I want to take that direction. What's wrong? How to fix it for the Padres? We'll get to that after our last check traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Tannick.
Traffic is sponsored by Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. You guys, things are winding down pretty nicely on our roads. They just got a stalled vehicle pushed over the right shoulder, North 805 before University. And there's a collision with clearing stage on the Severn Drive off-ramp, eastbound 8. Coach Quintero and Joe Musgrove's choice. They're a different kind of dealership, looking to be a solid community partner and deliver excellent service. Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Chevrolet finds new roads. I'm Kelly Danik with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, you have several regulars in your lineup who aren't hitting right now. Juan Soto, Manny Machado, Ha-Seong Kim, Jake Cronenworth isn't even going well. Austin Nola, Fernando Tatis Jr. You have several players. So now you first have to identify, do we have a micro problem or a macro problem? Are Juan Soto's problems the same as Manny Machado's problems, as Ha-Seong Kim's problems? Is there something fundamentally flawed with the approach of the organization, of the hitting coaches, of the manager, that is causing the Padres to perform poorly early in the season? Or is it a micro problem? Does Juan Soto have a completely different issue right now from Ha-Seong Kim, who has a completely different issue from Manny Machado? If that's the case, then it's on the players to really address their issues and improve. Sure, they can get individual help from the coaches to work on things, but is this a macro problem or a micro problem for the Padres?
It's a micro problem.
I agree. I think it's a micro problem.
I do as well. And it's easy to point to the macro and say, man, you have a lack of voice in a hitting coach, but you do have Ryan Flaherty, who's been there. And again, I mean, not like last year's team ripped the cover off the ball all the time either, right? I mean, they didn't. They won a lot of ball games, certainly, but and then you added cool ball and all that. But, the Giants, who won 107 games a couple of years ago, they had 14 coaches. They had a yoga coach and a poetry guy, and they had a sommelier down there. I mean, they had them all. Like, you want to talk about voices, that had the 14 voices. They did. It's not, I'm making a joke, but it's not a joke.
It's funny.
They have 14 different voices to teach these guys like Brandon Belt, Buster Posey, Brandon Crawford. Is it a lack of buy-in?
That's a macro. So that's a macro
That's
problem.
A macro problem.
Lack of buy-in, lack of heart and hustle.
Right.
Those are macro problems. And then you point at Bob Melvin and his coaching staff and say, hey, this team isn't pulling on the rope together. They're not on the same page. They don't understand what they're supposed to be doing. That's a macro problem. They do exist in Major League Baseball.
They absolutely
Padres
did.
had a macro problem under Jay Stingler for a while, I believe.
They did. In all, that slide was a macro
There
problem.
was a macro problem there. Right now, though, I agree with you. I think it's just a collection of micro problems, and micro problems tend to go in waves in a Major League Baseball season. If you're a Major League Baseball player, there's a reason you've gotten to the big leagues. You have talent. You have an idea of what you're doing. Now, it doesn't keep you immune from slumps and going into ruts, but usually because you've done it so long in your life, you'll get to a point where you'll get out of it. You'll fix it. And I think that's where we are with the Padres right now, a series of micro problems with guys who just need to kind of get going and get locked in.
And it's easy to call it a macro problem because there's so many guys suffering and struggling. They're struggling and they're late on the fastball. They're not on time. They're not on time. They're not aggressive. They're not. And when they are aggressive, Ben, they're aggressive on the wrong pitch. Manny is a very aggressive hitter. He's hit 450 or something on the first pitch last year. He's swinging at sliders that are barely catching the corner, and he's popping out. It's good to be aggressive. It's great, but you got to be aggressive on the right pitch. And again, the book is out right now. It's your job as a hitter to change the book. Trust me, Drew Smiley's going to try to go low and away to Soto today. And if Soto spanks it to left field in his first at bat, he's probably still going to try it again. And if he spanks it to left in his second at bat, he's not going to go there again.
By the way, give some credit to the opposing pitchers who are executing.
I'm tired of giving credit to them.
You can say I'm going low and away. It's easier said than done. You go low and away a foot outside, and Juan Soto spits on that pitch, and he will take his walks.
He will.
But I've noticed a lot of pitchers who are going low and away to Juan Soto, and you know what they're doing? the little edge of the ball is hitting the edge of the strike
nicking the
zone
corner right
and
now.
it's
Yep.
lighting up, and the umpire's calling it a strike
Yep.
right now on Juan Soto, and he's in the torture chamber.
He is in
When
the
it's like,
blender.
that's not a good pitch to hit. He's
No.
looking that ball that is 98 and at the knees, and 1 millimeter of it crosses the outside edge of the black of home plate. It's both a strike and a terrible pitch to swing at the same time.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's a no-win situation when you go up to home plate.
No doubt.
There's no way to necessarily hit a great ball on a 2-strike pitch that is a pitcher's pitch at the knees at the outside corner. And I think Juan Soto's seen a bunch of
They're
those
getting him
lately.
He's being pitched well right now. They're pitching him well. I will give credit for that. They are pitching him well. But like last night, he missed a 94-mile-an-hour cookie. And I mean, one that he laid in his hotel room last night and thought that ball needs to be in the streets. And he's just not on time right now. He's just not on time. So the most important thing in hitting is being on time, and he's not. And it's there was a couple games last week, and I was tweeting with somebody. I go, honestly, man, I've honestly never seen somebody so locked up at the plate. Locked up. There's it's easy to say, oh, he's up there looking to walk. It's not because he's afraid to hit. He's locked. He cannot fire. It's not firing right now. And when he does fire, he misses. He's missing cookies. Manny is missing cookies. Those guys don't miss. They make $20 to $30 million a year by not missing cookies in the zone, and they're both missing them terribly. And that's what the problem is. And once they start hitting those cookies and they get on time, it's over. It's over. They're gonna bounce back. I'm stubborn as all get out on both of those guys. I really am.
It's pretty easy to understand, even if you're not a baseball player. Whatever you do, when you lose a little bit of confidence, then it just compounds upon itself. The lack of success then makes you doubt yourself on the next pitch and on the subsequent pitch. And then you get a little bit of success. You know, Juan Soto drives a couple of balls. All of a sudden, he's got that confidence, that aggression up there. He also, I'll know that Juan Soto is locked in when he's not. What bothered me the most yesterday in particular is when he starts running to first base.
Yeah.
On a strike.
Yeah, no doubt.
Even if it is an outside pitch, I would like to see him wait and just say, you know what? I want to be in this box.
Yeah.
And if you make me go to first base because I walked, that's fine. I'll take my base.
That's on you.
That's what showed me so magnified that he is not locked in. He is going up there hoping and looking for a walk.
Yeah. I want you to be the batter who stands in there, like Barry Bonds, when he was like, I don't want to walk. I want to stand here until you throw me a pitch, and I will stand here until the umpire makes me go to first base because you threw me 4 balls that I absolutely couldn't swing at. Otherwise, I want to be here tormenting you on the mound. I want to be your worst nightmare standing here. I'm not trying to get to first base on a walk. I will take it if that's what you have given me, but I don't want to act like that's what I was looking for. And from Juan Soto yesterday, he was begging for the walks.
Did not want
take the walks. Don't beg for
take
them.
him. Don't beg for him. Is not able to fire right now. And when he does fire, he's missing. And that's frustrating too. Like 94 down the middle for him is a joke. That's a joke. That is bread and butter for Juan Soto. And I watched the rip that he took. Good rip, healthy hack. Ball was up a little bit. Still, he hit that ball out 40 times in his career.
If I'm Ryan Flaherty or Scott Coolbaugh, that's the only thing I'm saying to Juan Soto today is I want you staying in there to hit. And if you walk, then make them send you to first base, like reluctantly.
Yeah, because what you don't want is him going up and hacking at the first pitch, rolling over 4 times. That's not a better day.
No, I want him to hunt his pitches just like he always does. But I don't want him to look like he's looking for a walk. That tells me if I'm the pitcher and a guy's trying to trying to run off and you get a strike, I feel so confident right there.
It's like the best feeling. That's like the best feeling.
It's like I know you don't even want to. I know you don't even want to be here, and you're trying to get away from me, the pitcher.
See if you can hit this 63. Yeah, 100%. It's the team is they just look a little bit lost up there, and again missing pitches that they normally hammer is tough. It's tough.
Who was it that did who got hit by a pitch and goes, no, it didn't hit me. Like, I don't want my base. I want to hit. I want to be here. Like, no, it didn't hit me. And clearly it did, but it's like,
who was that?
It was someone. Didn't someone do that recently? Like, they were so locked in. Like, I don't want to take hit by pitch.
It wasn't Trout, was it?
I can't
remember. I think I remember.
Anderson?
Was it Timmy?
He might have
Maybe.
been.
Might have
That
been
sounds,
Tim
that
Anderson.
sounds kind of right. Like I'm so locked
Like,
in.
I'm good.
I don't want my base. I
Yeah.
want another ball to swing at.
Hitting's cool. Hitting's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's fun to watch. And all of the tropes that we've spit out this year of, it should bode well for the Padres offense, the bigger bags and the no shift and guys are gonna be ready to hit on time. They're just not.
With Manny, I think he's playing through a little tweak of some sort.
I mean, maybe, but
he'll never tell us.
He did it last year. I'm concerned because I want to see them hit because I greatly enjoy those players playing baseball at the highest level.
You're concerned in the moment. You're not concerned
Overall,
for
no.
the long haul.
No. I again, they post and they're going to be in there. And I don't
I
know.
agree. I'm very concerned about today's game.
Yeah.
With the pitching matchup and the way they've been struggling. I'm not concerned that
Like,
the
if I told
Padres are
you-
going to be 20 games under 500
nor
in
am
2
I.
months.
If I told you this is just going to be the type of season Ha-Seong Kim has, Austin Nola has, hell, even Jake Cronenworth, like he's having an off year. You could buy that. You could wrap your head around that. If I
Right.
told you, no, this is Juan Soto.
Soto's
This
a
is Manny
180 hitter.
Machado
It
for
would-
the season. You're like, there's no
Paulie, it would make
no
me
way.
it would make me question this job. It would make me question my career. It would make me question everything I thought I knew about baseball or have learned. It really would. I don't see it happening. I'm not saying it can't. I'm just saying I don't.
Chad says Albert Bell definitely refused to go
Yeah,
to first
Albert
once
Bell
when he
has
got hit by
refused.
pitch.
He's like, no, I want to hit.
I wanna hit.
It happens in adult. It's hysterical. You take your base, you clown. I'll get 4 ABs a week, bro.
I'll give you another ball. I just want to hit.
Oh man. All right. Well, listen. Back for more tonight.
I'll
at
tell you what,
4:40.
all things that have gone wrong for the Padres so far, I bet Drew Smiley is still not looking forward
No
to
question.
facing those top 4 Padres hitters again.
There's no
in the
question.
lineup.
Do you think there'll be a lineup shuffle tonight?
Maybe I would at some
The
point.
definition of insanity is doing the same
I
thing
mean,
over and over.
I've seen people putting lineups with Juan Soto 6th, and man, I mean, if there were guys that were red hot at the bottom of the order,
Yeah.
I would say go ahead and do it.
Mix it
but
up.
It's not like the Padres have these guys who are absolutely murdering the ball, like Ha-Seong Kim and Austin Nolan.
And-
they should really be batting 1 and 2 right now.
I could
They're not
definitely
hitting
get
either.
on board with splitting Soto and Machado.
But yeah,
As could
I agree.
As could I. We'll see that.
Xander, Soto, Tatis, Machado.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Sign up for that.
I would definitely think that
You
makes a
don't
lot
want
of
to put
sense.
Xander further down.
More at bats for Xander, who's your
Good
hottest
thing.
guy. Split Soto and Machado. Manny can still drive in runs in the 4 spot. I know the one thing it doesn't get is Soto out of the 2 hole,
right?
Which a lot of people say he doesn't like to hit 2. Move him out of the 2. Make him 4, then a Manny 2, if you want to do that way. All right, that's it for us. Coach John Quintero will continue, I'm sure, this discussion coming up next. For Paul Reindl, for Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. We'll talk to you again tomorrow morning. We will mock the draft and more on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.